LoveLore Library. Chapter 988. Yang Ming knew that this Jing Xiaolu wanted to take the opportunity to blackmail him, but Yang Ming was now desperate. Moreover, Yang Ming was not short of money. He really was not short of money. No matter how Jing Xiaolu blackmailed him, it wouldn't hurt him. On the contrary, if she really put forward any constructive suggestions, Yang Ming was still very happy to see it. Okay. Yang Ming nodded. However, I can tell you that if you talk nonsense and say something useless, no matter how much money I bought for you, I will tell Ho Jinhan to deduct it from your company. Don't worry. Jing Xiaolu smiled confidently. I promise to let you have a beautiful woman. Yang Ming nodded and didn't think much about it. He really didn't know that his threat was not a threat to Jing Xiaolu at all. Originally, Jing Xiaolu also came to shop. She bought things out of her own pocket. Now, even if Yang Ming wanted to deduct it from her salary, it was just the money that she should have spent today. Therefore, Jing Xiaolu didn't lose anything. Jing Xiaolu bought a small plush toy. Yang Ming paid for it together, but he was a little helpless. Why did she buy this kind of thing like a child? Jing Xiaolu seemed to see through Yang Ming's thoughts, so she smiled and said, "It's a birthday gift for a colleague." Oh. Yang Ming nodded. Is it good working there? Of course, it's good, hee hee. Jing Xiaolu smiled slyly. Now, they all know that I am a mistress of a big boss. You are a mistress of a big boss. Yang Ming said, what do you mean? That big boss is you. Jing Xiaolu looked at Yang Ming and said. Me? What does it have to do with me? Yang Ming was inexplicable. He really couldn't figure out how he could be involved with this. Jing Xiaolu blinked slyly like a little fox. I was arranged to enter the company by you. President Ho took special care of me. At first, others thought that I was President Ho's mistress. I was a little depressed, so I casually explained that my man was President Ho's friend. Who knew that there would be rumors? That's not me. Yang Ming smiled bitterly after listening, but he had to admit that Jing Xiaolu was very good at using the relationships around her to protect herself. In this way, no one dared to bully her, whether it was rumors or the truth. However, for this kind of harmless joke, Ming would just let her be. As long as you don't say my name, it's fine. So you're admitting that you're my lover? Jing Xiaolu asked in surprise. When did I admit? You said it yourself. If you don't say your name, isn't that the same as admitting that you are my mistress? Otherwise, why would I say your name? Jing Xiaolu caught Yang Ming's faulty wording and said proudly. Yang Ming discovered that the girl in front of him was not as brainless as he thought. Perhaps, when he first met her in the cafeteria, what he saw was just a facade, a disguise. After learning about her life from Guxinyao, Yang Ming sometimes thought that maybe this girl just had a rebellious attitude toward the world. She pretended to be a delinquent girl or a seductive woman just to disguise the vulnerability under her heart. In this way, she could vent the lack of family affection. However, the current Jing Xiaolu was still very pleasing to the eye. She didn't have the bad habits of the underworld. She had the youthful image of a little white-collar girl. Perhaps this was her real side. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. Yang Ming shook his head and let go of this topic. He was afraid that if he continued to talk, Jing Xiaolu would still pester him on this issue. Humph. Sooner or later, I will make you call me your lover willingly. Jing Xiaolu squeezed her small fist, but there was no difference on the surface. Okay, let's go. Accompany me to buy something. Big wallet. Big wallet. Yang Ming cursed in his heart. This name is really unpleasant to hear. He followed Jing Xiaolu to the clothing store. Now, let's talk about it. How do I give this gift? Yang Ming didn't have time to talk nonsense with Jing Xiaolu. It was better to go straight to the topic. Then you have to tell me first. Who are you giving it to? Jing Xiaolu said, if you don't say who are you giving it to, how can I advise you? You don't know. You won't know even if I tell you. Yang Ming replied. Then what do you want me to say? Jing Xiaolu rolled her eyes. However, you are also fickle in love. Why do you still want to pursue other girls when you have Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun? Yang Ming glared angrily. Why does this Jing Xiaolu talk so much nonsense? Are you going to say it or not? If you don't, I'm leaving. Why do you care so much? I'm just asking. Why are you angry? Jing Xiaolu snorted. You are fickle in love and yet you don't let others talk about it. You belong to the group of people who cover your ears while stealing a bell. Cover my ears while stealing a bell. I have nothing to do with covering my ears while stealing a bell. Yang Ming was angered by Jing Xiaolu. When he argued with others, he had never lost. But today, he was repeatedly criticized by Jing Xiaolu. The depression in his heart was needless to say. So much nonsense. Yang Ming snorted coldly. Are you going to say it or not? Okay, I will say it. Jing Xiaolu muttered, you are narrow-minded. You dare to do it but don't dare to admit it. Yang Ming simply pretended not to hear it. If he answered, she might have a lot of words waiting for him. He simply said, then you say it. I'm all ears. Hee, after you listen to the waiter's words, are you going to write the process of how you met the girl on this memory tree? Bit by bit, without leaving anything out? Jing Xiaolu asked with a smile. Yeah, is there a problem? As the two were pulling, they heard someone call Jing Xiaolu's name in front, Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu looked up and saw that it was her colleague, Xiaoru. She was looking at Yang Ming and herself with a gossipy expression. Xiaolu, I finally caught your adultery. Hee, I said that today is a day off, so I asked you to go shopping. Why didn't you go? It turns out that you are dating your boyfriend. Jing Xiaolu was a little helpless, but she couldn't explain it. She caught a cold a few days ago. She wanted to take a good sleep during the holiday, but she didn't expect to be cured after taking some medicine yesterday, so she came out to shop. She didn't expect to be caught by her colleague, Xiaoru. TSK, don't you have a boyfriend too? Why don't you go shopping with him? Why are you jealous of me? Jing Xiaolu retorted. You know him. He is so busy every day. Xiaoru shook her head. He works overtime all day, and the boss doesn't give him a day off. But he earns a lot. Otherwise, with your little salary, can you carry LV? Jing Xiaolu smiled and pointed at Xiaoru's backpack. Xiaoru smiled. Apparently, she was also very satisfied with her boyfriend. She looked at Yang Ming next to Jing Xiaolu and wondered. Isn't it said that Jing Xiaolu's boyfriend is a big boss? How come he is a young guy? He seems to be about the same age as Jing Xiaolu. Xiaolu, why don't you introduce him? Xiaoru pointed at Yang Ming and said. Jing Xiaolu glanced at Yang Ming from the corner of her eyes. Seeing his indifferent look, she whispered, you cooperate with me. Why? Asked Yang Ming. There is one more important thing that I haven't said yet. If you don't want to hear it, then forget it. Jing Xiaolu whispered a threat, but don't blame me if your relationship fails. And there is more. Yang Ming didn't believe it, but Jing Xiaolu seems to be very smart. Is there really something that I should pay attention to that she hasn't told me? Yang Ming didn't dare to take too many risks. After all, Xiao Ying's weight in his heart was very large. Moreover, it could be said that if this confession failed again, it would be more difficult in the future. So, after weighing the pros and cons, he had to say, whatever, but don't go overboard. Jing Xiaolu's eyebrows showed a smile. She held Yang Ming's arm and said, Xiaoru, this is my boyfriend, Yang Ming. Hello, my name is Luan Xiaoru. Xiaoru smiled and nodded to Yang Ming. I am your Xiaolu's good sister. I have to treat you at noon. Since Yang Ming promised Jing Xiaolu to cooperate with her, he smiled and nodded. Okay, no problem. Ha, Xiaolu, your boyfriend is really straightforward. Luan Xiaoru smiled and said, Yang Ming, right? I don't know where you are from. Luan Xiaoru wanted to know if the rumors in the company were true, so she began to inquire about Yang Ming's details. I can't say that I'm from a high position. I'm just a student in the same school as Xiaolu. Yang Ming said with a smile. Xiaolu also came out to work during the holidays. Oh, it turns out to be a top student. Luan Xiaoru was slightly stunned, and then said without changing her expression. However, she was puzzled in her heart. Are the rumors in the company all lies? Did Jing Xiaolu make it up herself? Although the relationship between Luan Xiaoru and Jing Xiaolu was very good, when Jing Xiaolu first came to the company, Luan Xiaoru couldn't deny that the purpose of deliberately approaching Jing Xiaolu was because she heard that Jing Xiaolu's boyfriend and President Ho of the company were good friends. So, she wanted to follow this relationship to see if there was any hope for promotion or salary increase. So now, she couldn't help but be disappointed. It seems that rumors are just rumors. It can't be taken seriously. I just don't understand why President Ho is so good to Jing Xiaolu. Is it because he covets Jing Xiaolu's beauty? It was undeniable that Jing Xiaolu was very outstanding in the company. In the beginning, there were many male colleagues who pursued her, but later they heard that her boyfriend was President Ho's friend, so they gave up. Who wanted to be fired by the company because of this? It was said that the current bosses were very stingy. It was said on the internet that an employee stole the vegetables from the boss QQ farm, so the boss fired him. So, no one dared to touch this bad luck, lest they accidentally end up in a tragedy. However, Luan Xiaoru wasn't a snobbish person. Although she knew that Jing Xiaolu's boyfriend wasn't a big boss, she didn't show much indifference. Her previous thoughts were understandable. Anyone would have similar thoughts. Her friendship with Jing Xiaolu was not only because of this, but because the two people's desks were next to each other, and they were usually together. Yang Ming patiently accompanied Jing Xiaolu and Luan Xiaoru to visit all the shops on the commercial street. The most annoying thing was that Jing Xiaolu tried on everything. Sometimes, she took off a piece of clothing, and she had to try it again after a while. Yang Ming was angry in his heart. You don't spend money. If someone spends money for you, why don't you just buy it all? Go home and try it on as much as you want. You are so slow. In the end, Jing Xiaolu only bought 4 or 5 pieces of clothing, but Luan Xiaoru bought a lot, more than 10 pieces. This time, Luan Xiaoru also really confirmed her thoughts. Yang Ming was just an ordinary college student, not a big boss. Xiaolu, it's noon. Aren't you two in charge of arranging? After shopping, Luan Xiaoru asked with a smile. She didn't want to rip off Yang Ming, but she was very familiar with Jing Xiaolu. It was normal for her boyfriend to treat her. As for what to eat, it didn't matter. Okay, Xiaoru, what do you want to eat? Don't be polite with him. Jing Xiaolu glanced at Yang Ming and found it funny. This guy is very smart when he is smart. Why is he stupid when he encounters emotional problems? He is like a follower, following behind me. Even I, Jing Xiaolu, have such a day. If Sister Xinyao knows, then I will be too proud. I want to go to Heavenly World to eat seafood. Luan Xiaoru said with a smile, how about it? Is it okay? Xiaoru, you really dare to ask. Jing Xiaolu was very familiar with Yang Ming's economic strength, so she was not worried. She smiled and said, then let's go. I'm just joking. Luan Xiaoru saw that Jing Xiaolu was serious, so she quickly waved her hand. Just find a restaurant nearby. Luan Xiaoru had only been to Heavenly World twice. Once was when she met the parents of her boyfriend's family. The other time was during the company's New Year's dinner. However, Jing Xiaolu had not come to work at that time. Luan Xiaoru didn't know how much the company spent on the dinner, but she heard that President Ho was very familiar with the boss of Heavenly World. However, when she met the parents of her boyfriend spent more than 10,000 yuan. It doesn't matter, Xiaoru. Jing Xiaolu waved her hand and said, you don't have to save money for him. This. Luan Xiaoru thought that Jing Xiaolu was trying to save face. She quickly waved her hand and said, forget it, Xiaolu. Heavenly World is quite far from here. Now it's lunchtime. Not to mention that it is not easy to call a taxi. Even if we go, there may not be a seat. Won't we know if there is a seat? Yang Ming said with a smile, let's go. I have a car. There is no need to call a taxi. He has a car. Luan Xiaoru was stunned. She didn't expect Jing Xiaolu's boyfriend to have a car. However, her boyfriend also had a car. It was not strange to have a private car in this era. A small car was very cheap. It could be bought in tens of thousands. It was just a means of transportation. When Luan Xiaoru saw that Yang Ming spoke, she no longer said anything. If she said more, it would be a bit pretentious. So, the three people walked to the parking lot of the commercial street. Jing Xiaolu had never sat in Yang Ming's car, so she followed Yang Ming. Until Yang Ming stopped in front of a BMW X5 and pressed the remote control lock, Jing Xiaolu knew that this car was Yang Ming's car. However, Luan Xiaoru's face suddenly showed a surprised expression. She knew this BMW X5. It cost 7 or 800,000 yuan. Not to mention students, even the working class could not afford it. Looking at the license plate again, Xiaoru was even more shocked. It probably cost a lot of money to get this license plate. The key was that most people couldn't get it even with money. Luan Xiaoru wondered about what Yang Ming said. He was just a student? Luan Xiaoru's surprised expression naturally did not escape Jing Xiaolu's eyes. Jing Xiaolu was secretly proud. Most likely, when I went to the company tomorrow, Luan Xiaoru would publicize it, and my previous rumors would be true. After getting in the car, Luan Xiaoru finally couldn't help but ask, Xiaolu, is your boyfriend lying? How can he be a student? Would a student drive such a good car? He is a student, but he is still doing business outside. Jing Xiaolu explained. She didn't know much about Yang Ming's affairs, but she couldn't say that she didn't know. She could only pretend to know very well and introduced him perfunctorily. It turns out to be like this. Luan Xiaoru nodded and looked at Yang Ming with a smile. Yang Ming, you are not honest. You actually hid something. Tell me, what company are you running? Hee, it's just a small jewelry company. Yang Ming smiled and said, originally, my first identity is a student. These are just side jobs. As I said, Xiaolu is also using the holidays to work, hee. Seeing that Yang Ming didn't want to say more, Luan Xiaoru no longer asked. After all, it was the first time they met. If Yang Ming didn't say anything, she couldn't ask much. They weren't very familiar with each other. But one thing was certain. Yang Ming was definitely not just a student. It seemed that 80% of the rumors in the company were true. The car drove in the direction of Heavenly World. After the second renovation of Heavenly World, the grade was obviously much higher than before. It had become one of the most high-end hotels in Songjiang. When it was time to eat, they often couldn't find a seat. Yang Ming parked the car in the parking lot of Heavenly World. The sharp-eyed security guard saw Yang Ming's car and immediately trotted over. He led Yang Ming to park the car and respectfully opened the door. "Brother Yang, you are here." Yang Ming nodded and smiled slightly. He didn't say anything, but Luan Xiaoru looked at Yang Ming with a deep meaning. Although the security guard's greeting didn't mean anything, it at least showed that Yang Ming was a regular here. Otherwise, the security guard wouldn't know him. After entering the hall of Heavenly World, Luan Xiaoru felt that Yang Ming wasn't ordinary. The lobby manager personally ran over to receive them. The respectful expression wasn't just for a customer, but it was as if Yang Ming was her boss. "Mr. Yang, you are here. Can I inform President Gua to come down?" "No need." Yang Ming waved his hand and said, "Don't bother him. We are just here to have a meal." But the lobby manager was a bit embarrassed. President Gua instructed that when Mr. Yang came, she should be informed immediately. But Mr. Yang didn't want her to inform him. This was a bit troublesome. Luan Xiaoru was even more shocked. What is the identity of this Yang Ming? He actually has to trouble the general manager of Heavenly World to come down and greet him personally. "Yang Ming, your family must be rich, right?" Luan Xiaoru asked. "Why do you say that?" Yang Ming asked faintly. "The manager of a small jewelry company won't receive such a high standard of reception in earthly paradise, right?" Luan Xiaoru smiled and said, "Although I'm not a member of the upper class, I have also seen it on TV. Your identity must not be simple." Yang Ming shook his head and suddenly smiled. "I'm just familiar with the owner of this hotel. It's no big deal. But Miss Luan, looking at your eating posture, you should have received a good education, right? Your family environment isn't very simple, right?" Luan Xiaoru was stunned and then said, "Hee, you are talking about this. Hee, I recently became addicted to a Korean drama. I saw that the young ladies in it were like this, so I learned a little." Yeah, Xiaoru often peeks at Korean dramas in the office. Jing Xiaolu teased. Who knew that Luan Xiaoru didn't show weakness and said sarcastically, "I don't know who played QQ games at work and was caught by President Hope several times." "You play games at work?" Yang Ming turned his head and glanced at Jing Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu lowered her head embarrassedly. "I just play it occasionally. I play it after I finish the company's business. Don't play it again in the future. Although I introduced you to Ho Zhen. President, don't think that he won't dare to fire you." Yang Ming didn't want Jing Xiaolu to feel special. "Okay, I got it." Jing Xiaolu nodded. In fact, playing games and watching movies in the office was what many white-collar workers did at work. The company's boss turned a blind eye when they didn't interfere with normal business. After all, work was very stressful every day, and there wasn't much time to relax. It was normal to relax occasionally. Yang Ming naturally knew this, but he still had to make some things clear to Jing Xiaolu. He didn't want other colleagues to take her as an example. Then, the company would be finished. Before the meal was finished, Luan Xiaoru received another text message. After reading it, she said apologetically, "I'm sorry. I have something urgent to deal with." "You dead girl. Is your husband looking for you?" Jing Xiaolu asked with a smile. I'm leaving first." Luan Xiaoru stood up. She didn't admit it or deny it. When she left, she didn't forget to glance at Yang Ming and then said, "Thank you for your hospitality. I will treat you next time." Although Luan Xiaoru said, "You guys," her gaze was directed at Yang Ming. However, Yang Ming's face still had an indifferent expression without the slightest change. After Wan Xiaoru left, Jing Xiaolu said with some dissatisfaction, "This dead girl. I originally wanted to treat her to a meal, but she left first." "Xiaolu, how did you meet her?" Yang Ming didn't care about Jing Xiaolu's dissatisfaction. Instead, he asked. "Xiaoru has been in the company. When I first came to the company, I sat with her. She helped me a lot with some things that I didn't understand." Jing Xiaolu said, "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Yang Ming shook his head. "Maybe I was too nervous." However, Yang Ming also regretted that he didn't see the content of Wan Xiaoru's first text message. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so skeptical. "What's wrong with you? Why do I feel that you are not in a good mood?" Jing Xiaolu didn't know what Yang Ming was thinking. She asked curiously, "Do you feel that it is boring to eat with me?" No." Yang Ming's expression returned to normal. Recently, he was indeed a little paranoid. He had to spend a lot of effort to study it. Although this kind of precautionary awareness was good, it also brought a lot of inconvenience to him. "I just think that this Wan Xiaoru is somewhat inexplicable. Why did she leave after eating half of it? What else is there that she has to do without even eating? She is like this. Sometimes in the company, she will run to the bathroom neurotically when she receives a text message. I am used to it." Jing Xiaolu said with a smile, "I think that you can see that she doesn't care about her boyfriend very much on the surface, but she should care a lot in her heart. This kind of person doesn't mean what she says. Unlike me, I say whatever is on my mind." "Hey, Yang Ming, how far do you think I am from being your lover?" "It's 108,000 miles. Yang Ming said with annoyance. I don't know what nonsense is in this Jing Xiaolu's mind. Isn't it good to live a good life? Why do you have to be someone else's lover? Isn't this a mental illness? Moreover, she is now a white-collar worker in a company that everyone envies. Her income is not low. There is no need to rely on others to live. 108,000 miles. There is still a chance." Jing Xiaolu said with a smile, "If you move forward a little every day, you will be closer to the goal. Others could travel around the world in 80 days. I, Jing Xiaolu, can also do it." Yang Ming listened to Jing Xiaolu's words, and his nose was almost crooked. What kind of broken logic is this? I don't know if she really can't understand the meaning of my words, or she understands but pretends not to understand. In short, I really have nothing to say. You want to be my lover so much. Yang Ming stared at Jing Xiaolu and said helplessly, "Do we have a foundation of feelings? Can't there be no foundation of feelings? Can't feelings be cultivated?" Jing Xiaolu said without fear. "How do you cultivate?" Yang Ming smiled bitterly. "Moreover, I think you have a good life. There is no need to choose this path." "That's fine. That's what you said. If I find out that one of your girlfriends is together without a foundation of feelings, then you have to have me." After Jing Xiaolu heard it, she said without showing any weakness. "Why do I have to agree?" Yang Ming had a headache. "You said it yourself. It can't be done without a foundation of feelings. But if you have a precedent, you can't use this reason again, and you have to let me be your lover," said Jing Xiaolu. Okay. Do whatever you want." Yang Ming was a little impatient, so he had to wave his hand and say. However, he thought in his heart, even if there is such a precedent, you can't know. Chen Mengyan was in love freely. It had nothing to do with what Jing Xiaolu said. Although Lin Jian was pushed down first, it was just a misunderstanding. Later, they had feelings for each other, so they were together. As for Lan Ling, it seemed that this was indeed the case, but Lan Ling was in Yunnan Miao village. You probably couldn't find her even if you were exhausted. Even I couldn't find her, let alone you. As for Xiaoqing, it was also a love developed from a sibling relationship. It couldn't be counted. Sun Jia was even worse. I sent her flowers every day. It seemed that I didn't succeed in pursuing her. Wang Xiaoyan, although she was his lover, she was his partner. That was obviously different. Moreover, Yang Ming didn't believe that Jing Xiaolu and Wang Xiaoyan could have any intersection. Then there was Huang Lele. She was far away in Macau, and now she was in Singapore. How could Jing Xiaolu find her? Therefore, after Yang Ming felt that there was no flaw, he agreed to Jing Xiaolu's request. Chapter 990. I remember. You promised me. Jing Xiaolu nodded and said after listening. What did I promise you? Asked Yang Ming. You promised me. If you let me investigate and find out that there is no foundation for feelings among your girlfriends, but you develop feelings later, then I will be your lover, said Jing Xiaolu. Let's talk about it after you investigate it. Yang Ming said perfunctorily, right, you haven't said it yet. What is the important thing that you haven't told me? This. Jing Xiaolu smiled slightly after listening. The important thing is that the memory tree is given to the girl you like. Then, if she is interested in you, she will return it to you. All of this is according to my idea. I am just thinking about it from the perspective of a girl who likes you. If it were me, I would definitely do this, but no one can predict if the girl you like will be like me. What do you mean? You mean she doesn't like me? Asked Yang Ming. That's not it. I can only roughly simulate this scene, but it is impossible to accurately guess other people's thoughts. So, there will be accidents in everything. Your girl may also like you in her heart after receiving this memory tree, but she didn't think of returning it to you after replenishing it. If you keep it, wouldn't you be wasting your efforts? Yang Ming nodded his head and said, you don't need to worry too much about it. You don't need to worry too much about it. Yang Ming thought that Jing Xiaolu was just saying it casually. When she asked him to cooperate with her, she just casually threatened him. He also had the attitude that he would rather believe it than not, but he didn't have much hope. But he didn't expect that Jing Xiaolu's analysis was so clear and reasonable. Yang Ming said, not bad. What should I do? That's why I said it. There is still the most important thing that I haven't said before. Jing Xiaolu said with a smile, do you want to hear it? If you want to say it, just say it. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's irritating look and really didn't know what to say. Then give me a kiss, Jing Xiaolu said as she moved her small face closer. She raised her head slightly and closed her eyes. She had long eyelashes, and it was hard to tell if they were real or fake. Her small face was rosy, and it was very attractive. Yang Ming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He pushed Jing Xiaolu and said, stop fooling around. Are you going to tell me or not? Why are you being so fierce? Jing Xiaolu opened her eyes and pouted her lips in dissatisfaction. You only know how to be fierce with me. Why don't I see you being fierce with others? You didn't even want me when I chased after you, and you even went to the trouble of giving gifts and confessing to someone else. I don't know if there's water in your head. Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's aggrieved look and really didn't know what to say. He sighed and said, Xiaolu, I'm sorry. Feelings can't be forced. Maybe one day, we will really have a spark, but definitely not now. Yang Ming just comforted Jing Xiaolu casually, but it made Jing Xiaolu's eyes brighten. Her eyes widened, and a bright smile appeared on her face instantly. Really? I'm just making an assumption, said Yang Ming. You still have a conscience. Jing Xiaolu pouted and said with grievance, although I know that 80% of this is fake, and you said it perfunctorily, I'm still very happy. I will be very happy this month. Yang Ming sighed slightly. He didn't understand why Jing Xiaolu suddenly had feelings for him, and he couldn't understand Jing Xiaolu's thoughts. Okay, can you say it now? Yang Ming couldn't bear to attack Jing Xiaolu again, so his tone eased a lot. N. Jing Xiaolu nodded. I'll tell you. In fact, when you write the content of this memory tree, you have to deliberately leave an ambush. Ambush? Yang Ming nodded and listened attentively. It's an ambush. Jing Xiaolu said, in fact, this problem is very easy to solve. It can be called an ambush, but it can also be called a hint. What you write is the process of the two of you getting to know each other and falling in love. When you write to the end, you can deliberately write that you gave this memory tree to her as a gift, and then leave some blank space for her to fill in. Of course, you can hint to her that she filled in the memory tree and returned it to you. Then, the two of you will be happy together, yes. Yang Ming was very excited after listening to Jing Xiaolu's words. Jing Xiaolu is right. If I hint to Xiaoying, Xiaoying should understand what I mean. She will return it to the memory tree according to what the memory tree said. After filling in the memory tree, she will return it to me. Okay, I have finished what I need to say. Jing Xiaolu sighed and said faintly, I wanted you to accompany me for a while, and I will tell you in the end, but I couldn't help but say it first. You can leave in a while. I will go shopping by myself. If Jing Xiaolu asked Yang Ming to continue to accompany her, then Yang Ming would definitely not agree. But now, Jing Xiaolu said this pitifully. Yang Ming really couldn't refuse. According to what Jing Xiaolu said, if he got what he wanted to know and turned around and left, wouldn't he be an ungrateful ingrate? Although his face was a little thick-skinned, he was not an ingrate. He hesitated and said, I said that I will accompany you shopping. How can I leave when you haven't finished shopping? The reason why Yang Ming was not in a hurry was that Zhao Ying had to go to class during the day. She would probably only have time after class after 4:00 in the afternoon. He would ask her out again at that time. Now, there was really nothing to do. I know you are not that kind of person. Jing Xiaolu secretly clenched her small fist. She was happy in her heart. She took another step forward. She said to Yang Ming, okay, I work all day. I haven't been so free for a long time. Luan Xiaoru didn't eat, but Yang Ming continued to eat. He was not so particular. Everything was about filling his stomach. Jing Xiaolu was the same. After the two finished discussing the conditions, they began to continue to wipe out the food on the table. The dishes in Heavenly Earth were originally very delicious, and all the dishes in Yang Ming's private room were prepared by the lobby manager. The chef in the kitchen personally cooked it, so it was even more delicious. Yang Ming, the food here is very delicious. It is much better than the cafeteria in school. Jing Xiaolu praised. She was born in poverty. She had never been to such a high-end restaurant. Although she had recently worked as a white-collar worker and received some bonuses, it was also to buy medicine for her grandmother. Jing Xiaolu still wanted to buy some beautiful clothes with the little money left. She was also a girl. Naturally, she also had a heart of beauty. Yang Ming smiled after listening. You don't look at the price. How can it be the same? Then, you can bring me here a few more times in the future to improve the food. I am still growing. It will be bad if my chest is not developed properly. Jing Xiaolu said with a smile. Yang Ming glanced at Jing Xiaolu's chest. It was quite normal. Although it was not big, it could not be said that it was not developed properly. However, he still said, forget it. I will talk to the lobby manager in a while. You can come by yourself. Just sign it on my account. Jing Xiaolu was not really greedy. The reason why she said this was that she wanted to have more opportunities to contact Yang Ming. If she came by herself, it would be meaningless. She was not so shameless as a girl to come here to eat a big meal. I mean, you can ask me for advice on emotional problems. I am an expert, said Jing Xiaolu. You? Yang Ming laughed in his heart. You can't even solve your own emotional problems. How can you be an expert? However, I must not let her solve it. If she solved it, wouldn't I, when I am in trouble again, I will treat you to a meal. Is that okay? Yang Ming did not dare to be too firm. After all, the ideas that Jing Xiaolu gave just now were not bad. It was not that she could not help others to analyze her own emotional problems if she could not solve them. Often, the onlooker sees the game best. This was the truth that had not changed since ancient times. You are really boring. Jing Xiaolu rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. When you need me, you will treat me to a meal. You are cramming at the last minute. I have never seen such a hypocritical person like you. Yang Ming was suddenly at a loss for words, but what Jing Xiaolu said was right. Could it be that this chick is my natural enemy? I am so eloquent, but I am defeated again and again. What about me? Let's eat. Jing Xiaolu took the bird's nest soup on Wan Xiaoru's seat and drank it with relish. This bird's nest soup was served after Wan Xiaoru left, so Jing Xiaolu monopolized 2 servings. The bird's nest is for beauty. Do you see if my skin is better after drinking it? As long as you don't paint it like that, it is already very good. Yang Ming said. Didn't I change it long ago? Jing Xiaolu said indifferently, I know you like the pure type. Yang Ming pretended not to hear it and took a sip of tea. Hey, Yang Ming, let me ask you a question. Jing Xiaolu rolled her eyes and looked at Yang Ming with an ambiguous smile. What's the question? Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's shifty-eyed look. She was like a little fox. It didn't seem like a good thing. Can your girlfriend mess around? Asked Jing Xiaolu. What girlfriend? What mess around? Yang Ming was a little puzzled. It's Lin Jiyun. Jing Xiaolu asked like a curious baby, is it crazy when she does it with you? Yang Ming suddenly broke into a sweat. What kind of question is this? He glared at Jing Xiaolu. What does it have to do with you? Nothing. I just want to know what type of woman you like. Jing Xiaolu smiled and didn't take it seriously. Yang Ming was accustomed to Jing Xiaolu's playfulness. He had to pretend not to hear it. Jing Xiaolu wanted to say something, but there was a knock on the door outside the room. Chapter 991. Please come in. Yang Ming thought it was a waiter, so he didn't care and said directly. The door of the room was pushed open, but the people who came in were not the waiter, but Ho Jinhan and Bao Sonli. The person behind them was Gu Jianchao, but he had a helpless face. After coming in, he first reviewed himself. Brother Yang, you can't blame me. I didn't want to disturb you, but Brother Bao and Brother Ho came here. When they heard that you were here, they came down, it doesn't matter. Yang Ming waved his hand and glanced at Ho Jinhan and Bao Sonli. These 2 people were not impatient people. They knew that he didn't like these things in private, but now that they came to him, they must have something to say. Brother Yang, Bao Sonli said until here and glanced at Jing Xiaolu next to Yang Ming. He wanted to say something but stopped. Jing Xiaolu was sitting with her back to the door, so she didn't care at first. She thought it was a waiter. Later, when she heard someone call Yang Ming as Brother Yang, she felt that something was wrong, so she turned around. When she turned around, she found that her immediate boss, the company's general manager, President Ho, was standing there. She was shocked. Moreover, Jing Xiaolu used to be a delinquent girl in the underworld. She knew the famous people in Songjiang like the back of her hand. The one next to President Ho was Songjiang's boss, Bao Sonli. How could she not recognize him? She was surprised to see that he actually called Yang Ming as Brother Yang. She was even more surprised when she saw Yang Ming talk to Ho Jinhan in a commanding tone last time. Today, she was even more surprised. However, even though she was surprised, when Jing Xiaolu saw Ho Jinhan, she naturally stood up quickly and said, "Hello, President Ho." Ho Jinhan inexplicably received a call from Yang Ming that day. He arranged for a girl to enter the company without any reason. He didn't say anything else. Ho Jinhan didn't know what the relationship between this girl and Yang Ming was, so Ho Jinhan didn't dare to neglect. He also took care of Jing Xiaolu. Today, when he saw Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu eating here alone, he was even more certain in his heart. This Jing Xiaolu must be Yang Ming's lover. How could he dare to act like a boss in front of Jing Xiaolu? Although he was Jing Xiaolu's boss, Yang Ming was his boss. Although Jing Xiaolu was his employee, she was also Yang Ming's lover, so he quickly said, "Sister-in-law, this is not the company. You don't have to call me President Ho. You can just call me Big Ho like Brother Yang." Ho Jinhan was still hesitating. He didn't know who Jing Xiaolu was, so he didn't dare to say some words directly. However, when he heard Yang Ming call Jing Xiaolu's sister-in-law, he really thought that Jing Xiaolu was Yang Ming's girlfriend. Listening to her tone, it seemed that she worked in Ho Jinhan's company, so there should be no taboo. He said, "Brother Yang, President Niu invited me and President Ho to eat here. Originally, we wanted to ask you to decide on some things." Yang Ming was speechless. "It's messed up. It's all messed up." He glanced at Jing Xiaolu with some anger. Seeing her smug look, he really wanted to expose her in public. However, this matter couldn't be entirely blamed on her. It was also Ho Jinhan's own misunderstanding. Yang Ming sighed. "Forget it. I will satisfy Jing Xiaolu's little vanity. If I really exposed her directly and mercilessly, I don't know how embarrassed she would be at the moment. Since Bao Sonli had already said half of it, it wouldn't be right to ask Jing Xiaolu to leave. Moreover, what Bao Sonli said should be normal business matters. There was no need to hide it from Jing Xiaolu. Anyway, this little girl had probably guessed his identity. If he deliberately concealed it, it would have the opposite effect, so he said, "Sit down and talk. Jianchao, you too. Sit down together." Yang Ming saw that Gui Jianchao was still standing there after Ho Jinhan and Bao Sonli sat down, so he nodded to him. Gui Jianchao was excited. This was the first time that Brother Yang had brought him to a core meeting. It showed that his efforts had finally paid off. Brother Yang began to trust him and was ready to put him in an important position. He thanked him excitedly and sat down, but he only sat half of the chair. He didn't dare to sit down completely. "Tell me. What's going on?" Yang Ming glanced at Bao Sonli and said. "This is the case. Brother Yang, aren't we going to enter the real estate industry? Now there is a good opportunity to enter the industry." Bao Sonli said, "President Niu, you also know. The one who helps to repair the jewelry company. He found me today and said that President Qin of Hongxi Real Estate found him and said that there is a big project in the city. He wants to do it with us." You see, when Yang Ming heard it, he understood. Most likely, President Qin of Hongxi Real Estate was afraid that he couldn't handle such a big project. He was afraid that his opponents would hinder him, so he pulled Bao Sonli, a strong partner. In this way, those people wouldn't dare to act rashly. This was a matter of mutual benefit. There was nothing to study, so he said, "Okay, I got it. This is a good thing. You can rest assured." "Okay, Brother Yang." Bao Sanli had Yang Ming's approval, so naturally, he was relieved to do things. "In terms of real estate, Jianchao, you should also participate. When you were in Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group, you were also involved in the development of real estate projects. You should have some experience. You are in charge of Earthly Paradise. It is a bit too idle." "Jianchao, don't you feel tired?" Gui Jianchao couldn't ask for more. How could he feel tired? He was excited. "Sure enough, Brother Yang is starting to put me in an important position." He quickly said gratefully, "I'm not tired. It is my honor to work for Brother Yang. Don't worry. I will do a good job in the company." Yang Ming nodded and said, "It is too early to express your determination. Do a good job and make some achievements. That is the right thing to do." "I understand," Gui Jianchao said quickly. Jing Xiaolu really saw the identity of Yang Ming this time. It turned out that Yang Ming was the behind-the-scenes boss of these giants in Songjiang. Looking at Gui Jianchao's happy look, Jing Xiaolu was somewhat contemptuous. She had heard that the boss of Earthly Paradise was very badass with a strong background, but today, Jing Xiaolu regretted that Wan Xiaoru left too early. Otherwise, if Wan Xiaoru saw this scene, she would exaggerate and describe it to others. Jing Xiaolu would be so proud. However, seeing Yang Ming's low-key appearance, he only said that he knew the boss of Earthly Paradise in front of Wan Xiaoru. If Wan Xiaoru was present, Yang Ming probably wouldn't let these people sit down and talk about this. Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu was a little excited. Yang Ming actually didn't hide it from her. This honor was probably something that Yang Ming's girlfriends didn't have. Ho Xinhan also talked about the development direction of the real estate company. Yang Ming only gave a simple reminder. Most of the problems had to be solved by themselves. After all, Yang Ming didn't know much about these things. Everything had to be done by themselves. President Niu was still waiting upstairs. They went back upstairs after informing Yang Ming in advance. Gui Jianchao naturally followed upstairs. With Yang Ming's personal appointment, Gui Jianchao officially became a member of the huge business group of Yang Ming. "Are you full? Let's go." Yang Ming glanced at Jing Xiaolu and asked. "I'm full." Jing Xiaolu was in a good mood. She nodded happily. She also knew that even without Yang Ming's invitation, no one would charge her money the next time she came to Earthly Paradise. The boss of Earthly Paradise, Gui Jianchao, had seen her before. Seeing Jing Xiaolu's proud look, Yang Ming couldn't help but attack. "Don't think that I admit it just because I didn't deny it. I just gave you face." Jing Xiaolu certainly knew Yang Ming's thoughts. She wasn't narcissistic enough to think that Yang Ming would fall in love with her in such a short time, but she pretended to be stupid. "What do you mean by denying it? What are you talking about?" Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's innocent look and was furious. "Nothing. Don't say anything about what you saw today." I know." Although Jing Xiaolu liked to be vain, since Yang Ming instructed her, she wouldn't go out and spread it. "Let's go. Didn't you not finish shopping? Let's continue." Yang Ming nodded and walked in the direction of the elevator with Jing Xiaolu. Ding, the elevator door opened, but it was going up. Yang Ming wanted to say something, but Jing Xiaolu didn't look at him. Instead, she jumped in directly. Yang Ming had no choice but to follow Jing Xiaolu in. Anyway, the elevator had to come down after going up. There was no difference between waiting outside and entering the elevator. Wait for the next one. This time, it is full. As soon as Jing Xiaolu entered, she heard a dissatisfied voice. Then, Jing Xiaolu was pushed by the people in the elevator and directly bumped into Yang Ming. Yang Ming frowned. What kind of person is this? He is so rude. If it is full, then it is full. However, he didn't care much. In the hotel, there were many people who drank too much and acted crazy. Yang Ming couldn't care less about each and every one of them, right? Jing Xiaolu was stubborn all of a sudden. She was almost pushed by someone. How could she give up? She directly opened the elevator door that was about to close and scolded the people inside. Who is it? Which bastard dares to push me? Isn't there room here? Why do you say there is no room? Forget it, Xiaolu. It is probably a drunkard. Yang Ming shook his head. It was no wonder that Jing Xiaolu was angry. Who wouldn't be angry? She was pushed by someone for no reason. However, Jing Xiaolu wasn't going to let it go. She snorted, at least apologize, right? What kind of quality is this? Yang Ming was amused after hearing it. Your quality wasn't much better than theirs before, but now that she was a white-collar worker, Jing Xiaolu had changed a lot of bad habits. Little girl, what are you yelling for? If you yell again, I will kill you. The people in the elevator glared and threatened, hurry up and let go of your hand and close the elevator door. Brother Yang, help, Yang Ming frowned and wanted to say something, but he heard a scream in the elevator. Chapter 992. Hearing the call for help, Yang Ming was obviously stunned. Brother Yang. Is it calling me? Yang Ming subconsciously grabbed the door of the elevator that was about to close and looked inside, but he saw a familiar figure surrounded by several macho men in the corner. Shenhua. Yang Ming suddenly frowned. Isn't this Yang Xiaobo's girlfriend? How did she come here? Shenhua. Yang Ming called Shenhua's name and directly broke into the elevator. Several macho men in the elevator saw that Yang Ming knew the girl inside, and they were suddenly shocked. The macho man who just blocked the door swung his fist at Yang Ming and hit directly at Yang Ming's chest. Don't be a busybody. It's none of your business. The macho man shouted loudly as he waved his fist, trying to scare Yang Ming away. Yang Ming ran quickly into the elevator and easily avoided the punch. He came to Shenhua's side. What happened? Shenhua was guarded by a macho man with broken teeth. When he saw Yang Ming suddenly break in, he thought it was a fluke, so he didn't mind. Without waiting for Shenhua to speak, he said to Yang Ming, Kid, don't bother about things that you shouldn't care about. You can't manage this. Be careful not to offend people who shouldn't be offended. You'll get it. Yang Ming was stunned. He faintly felt that these guys didn't catch Shenhua for themselves. From their words, they seemed to be working for others. Yang Ming now wanted to use his special ability to explore the thoughts of these people. However, these people weren't nervous at the moment. Yang Ming couldn't use his special ability. If he wanted to create psychological pressure on these people, he couldn't succeed in a short time. Moreover, the elevator was in a public place. Although the earthly paradise belonged to Yang Ming was also afraid that there would be too many onlookers. If someone called the police, then things would be a bit troublesome. Yang Xiaobo was his own brother, and Shenhua was his girlfriend. Yang Ming naturally couldn't ignore it. Someone was unfavorable to Shenhua. Yang Ming didn't just want to save Shenhua, but he also wanted to know who was the person who wanted to catch Shenhua. 3 big brothers, this person is my friend. Give me some face and let her go. Yang Ming thought about it and said. Face? Who are you? How much is your face worth? The burly man with broken teeth said disdainfully, if you know what's good for you, don't wait for us to do it. Hurry up and get out of the way. Seeing that Yang Ming was so cowardly, the three burly men didn't take him seriously. They thought that he was a tough guy. They didn't expect him to be a coward. They didn't do anything to him, but their tone began to soften. Then, big brothers, can you reveal which big shot my friend has offended? Yang Ming pretended to be afraid and asked. You also know that it's a big shot. The burly man with broken teeth grinned, and the two broken teeth were more conspicuous. However, it's not an offense. It can only be said that your friend doesn't know what's good for him. Big brothers, can you let me talk to your boss? Maybe there are other solutions to this matter. Yang Ming said anxiously. Talk? What the fuck? Just by you. The burly man with broken teeth didn't look at Yang Ming at all. He thought that he was just a timid guy, but he wanted to be a busybody. Don't think that I don't dare to touch you here in a public place. Let me tell you, if you provoke me, I will cripple you. Big brothers, aren't you a bit inconsiderate? Yang Ming said with some difficulty, then forget it. I can only call the police. When he heard that Yang Ming said that he wanted to call the police, the burly man with broken teeth's face suddenly tightened. The ferocious burly man who blocked the elevator door also gave him a look. The two nodded at the same time. The buck-toothed burly man said, since you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being rude. As he said that, he waved his hand. The ferocious burly man and the burly man who had been silent before, one on the left and one on the right, held Yang Ming and pressed him against the wall of the elevator. Don't you want to see our boss? Okay, but you have to think carefully. After seeing our boss, it will be difficult for you to come out in one piece. What are you doing? When Jing Xiaolu saw that Yang Ming was held by these people, she was shocked. She rushed into the elevator, picked up the bag in her hand and smashed it at the ferocious burly man. She said while smashing, I will smash you to death. Seeing that Yang Ming was so easily subdued, the ferocious burly man didn't care. He let go of his hand and let the burly man who didn't make a sound hold Yang Ming alone. He freed his hand to deal with Jing Xiaolu. This chick is quite hot. In this case, let's go up together. Maybe the boss likes to have a threesome. Threesome my ass. Jing Xiaolu was very angry, but it was very strange. How could Yang Ming be so easily held down by these people? However, she didn't say anything. Jing Xiaolu had been in the society since she was a child. She had encountered a lot of dangers. Scenes like this used to be a common occurrence. She cheated the rich guy's money, but she didn't let him take any advantage. When the rich guy was enraged, he would also hire people to fix Jing Xiaolu. However, Jing Xiaolu eventually escaped from the devil's hands. Jing Xiaolu was not stupid. Obviously, she couldn't beat them. Then, why not run? What do people have long legs for? Isn't it to run away when you encounter danger? But this time, Jing Xiaolu felt a little strange. She didn't run away but rushed into the elevator to face the danger. This was something that had never happened before. Jing Xiaolu wasn't very clear about why this was. Was she worried about Yang Ming? Or did she have a blind trust in him and know that there was no danger when she was with him? Jing Xiaolu sighed. When did she do such a stupid thing? Why didn't she run when she saw danger? It was said that once a woman was in love, she would begin to become blind. Jing Xiaolu originally scoffed at this, but now, she couldn't avoid it. Jing Xiaolu was very clear about Yang Ming's strength. How could Bao Sanli's behind-the-scenes boss be so easily controlled by these blockheads? They were in their own hotel. Even if they couldn't beat them, there would probably be dozens of people waiting for these three blockheads at the various elevators with a phone call. Therefore, although Jing Xiaolu didn't understand, she didn't ask Yang Ming. Yang Ming must have his reasons for doing this. Perhaps he wanted to go deep into the tiger's den. Since Yang Ming wanted to follow the clues, then she had to cooperate as much as possible. So, after Jing Xiaolu was caught by the macho man, she stopped moving obediently and said in horror, "What do you want to do?" "I don't want to do anything, but I don't know what our boss will do to you." The ferocious macho man sneered and said, "There is a road to heaven, but you don't take it. There is no door to hell. Who can you blame?" Jing Xiaolu snorted, turned her head, and ignored him. She was too lazy to care about these people. She just wanted to see what Yang Ming wanted to do. However, at the moment when Jing Xiaolu turned her head, she saw Yang Ming winking at her. Jing Xiaolu suddenly felt relieved. Yang Ming really couldn't help it. He saw Jing Xiaolu get on the elevator, but he couldn't say anything. He was afraid that this hot-tempered chick would mess things up. But now, it seemed that Jing Xiaolu was still relatively smart. "I didn't give any hints. She should have already guessed what I meant. Otherwise, it would be impossible for her to be as obedient as she was now." The door of the elevator closed, and it went up one floor at a time. It stopped twice in the middle, but it was shocked by the ferocious macho man who was about to get on the elevator. Then, it went to the next elevator. The elevator finally stopped at the second floor. This was basically a VIP private room. It was not open to the public. That was to say, the people who could have private rooms here were more or less related to Mingyang Entertainment, Mingyang Heavy Industry, the Nightless Club, or people inside the Heavenly Earth Club. This was also the reason why Yang Ming was puzzled. These people could be said to have some relationship with him. What did they mean by touching Yang Xiaobo's girlfriend? Seeing Yang Ming's weird expression, the burly man smiled proudly. "Now you know to be afraid, right? I can see that you should also be a frequent visitor of the Heavenly Earth Club. You should know that only people with status can live in the private rooms on this floor. You should understand how overconfident you are this time, right? Your boss is a member of the Mingyang Group." Yang Ming frowned and asked. "Mingyang Group?" Several macho men were stunned, but they shook their heads. "Don't ask more. You will know when you see it." Seeing the expressions of several macho men, Yang Ming was even more puzzled. "Isn't it? Then, who could it be? Could it be that the private rooms here are now open to the public? Gui Jianchao didn't tell me about it." The door of the elevator opened, and the three macho men each escorted one person. They walked along the corridor to the innermost room and came to the door of the innermost room. The burly man with broken teeth freed a hand and knocked on the door. "Come in." There was a low voice from inside. "You two look at these three people first. Is that okay?" The ferocious macho man before told the buck-toothed macho man and the macho man who had been silent. The two men nodded and looked at the two chicks and a coward. They felt that it was not a big deal. However, the burly man with broken teeth still warned Yang Ming, "I'm telling you. Don't play any tricks, or I will beat you up on the spot. Big brother, you see that I am here to plead with your boss." "How can I beat you?" Yang Ming said quickly, "You are professional thugs at first glance, and I am just a student." "Humph, you have good eyesight." When the buck-toothed macho man heard that Yang Ming was just a student, his heart was suddenly relieved, and he didn't take him seriously. The ferocious macho man pushed the door and walked in first. Yang Ming followed his figure and entered the room. When Yang Ming saw the people in the room, he suddenly realized. It turned out to be this kid. Chapter 993. But, how could it be him? Yang Ming was a little puzzled. Could it be that his brain was pierced? The person in the room was Lu Cha, who he saw at the door of Shenhua's house that night. Lu Cha's father was said to be a vice president of Heavenly Earth. However, there were many vice presidents in Heavenly Earth, not just one. Yang Ming was not very clear about how many vice presidents Guo Jianchao had set up. However, in the room, there was not only Lu Cha. There was another guy that Yang Ming had seen at Suya's concert. One of his men seemed to want to sell tickets to him. According to Bao Sanli, this guy was the son of Vice President Chu of Ming Yang Entertainment. What were these two fellows going to do when they got together? However, to say that Lu Cha was too bold was not necessarily the case. The son of Vice President Chu was obviously not a good person. When the two of them got together, they could do anything. In the room, the ferocious macho man walked in and said respectfully to Lu Cha and the young man, "Brother Cha, Brother Kai, I have caught them. Then, bring them in." The young man who was called Brother Kai was called Chu Kai. He was indeed the son of Ming Yang Entertainment's Vice President Chu, but he was a classmate with Lu Cha. The relationship between the two was good. "I'd like to see what the girl who made you so infatuated with her looks like." But, Brother Kai, when the elevator stopped on the second floor, a man and a woman accidentally broke in. Said the ferocious macho man carefully. "What about a man and a woman? Just drive them out." Before the ferocious macho man finished speaking, Lu Cha waved his hand impatiently. "Hurry up and bring them in. I am impatient." "Brother Cha, the key problem is that these two people know Shenhua. They are clamoring for us to let Shenhua go. We don't comply. They said they want to talk to you," explained the ferocious macho man. "Idiot, just beat them up and drive them away." Lu Cha didn't care about it at all. He said very impatiently. "But they said that they wanted to call the police. I had no choice but to catch them first," said the ferocious macho man. "Wait, you bring them in and let me have a look." Chu Kai was more cautious than Lu Cha and ordered the ferocious man. The fierce macho man nodded and went out. Lu Cha said to Chu Kai disapprovingly, "Chu Kai, why do you care about those two guys? You should find a way to help me deal with Shenhua. Don't worry, I will definitely let you ride Shenhua today." Chu Kai said confidently, but a cold smile appeared on his face. "I'm just impatient." Lu Cha laughed dryly. "I'm doing this for your own good. I don't want new problems to arise. Didn't you hear those two people say they want to call the police? If you call the police, your good thing will be ruined." Chu Kai said. "You are so thoughtful." Lu Cha nodded and said quickly. It depended on how Chu Kai would do it. But now it seemed that Chu Kai had obviously changed his plan and was ready to admit defeat. "I investigated Vice President Chu and Chu Kai. This Chu Kai would definitely investigate me. After all, I was also in the limelight at Shuya's concert. My identity is not a secret. As long as I do a little investigation, I will know. This Chu Kai must also know my identity, so he can't admit defeat as soon as he sees me." After all, the weight of Ming Yang heavy industry in Bao Sanli's eyes was much more important than his father, Vice President Chu. Although I saw a few words between Chu Kai and Lu Cha with my X-ray vision, there was no evidence. That was just what I saw. If I wanted to deal with a person like Chu Kai, without conclusive evidence, I may give him an excuse and let people talk about me. "Oh, Brother Yang, you are talking about Shenhua." Chu Kai said with some helplessness, "This is also my fault. I didn't control Lu Cha." Lu Cha liked Shenhua and wanted to invite her to dinner, but Shenhua didn't come. Lu Cha was agitated and did something irrational. "I have just taught him a lesson." "Is that so?" asked Yang Ming with a sneer. Yeah, in fact, Lu Cha didn't have any other meaning. He just wanted to invite Shenhua to dinner, but his approach was a bit extreme. Chu Kai explained, isn't it, Lu Cha? Quickly admit your mistake. Don't be so impulsive in the future. Lu Cha was not a pure idiot. He saw his father's attitude toward Yang Ming at the door of Shenhua's house that night. Lu Cha also knew that he couldn't afford to offend Yang Ming. Lu Cha's backer was his father, Lu Chan. Since Lu Chan couldn't afford to offend Yang Ming, then Lu Cha couldn't afford to offend Yang Ming. Therefore, when he saw Chu Kai's polite appearance, he gave up the idea of doing something bad to Shenhua. Previously, he was provoked by Chu Kai, and he was a little confused. Now, he calmed down and was a little scared. Shenhua was Yang Ming's sister-in-law. If he really did something to her, he would probably be done for. When he heard Chu Kai calling him, Lu Cha quickly said, Brother Yang, I was really impulsive before. I couldn't get an appointment with Shenhua. I was hot-headed, so I used force. Brother Yang, Shenhua, can you forgive me? If you really can't, you can call the police to arrest me. I should be considered a kidnapping. Although my father and Uncle Shen are good friends, I made a mistake, and I can't cover it up. Shenhua, you call the police. Let me go to jail. Looking at Lu Cha's performance, Yang Ming was very amused. Are you pretending to be pitiful? In the past, pretending to be pitiful was my specialty. Aren't you a little too fake? However, Shenhua had never seen this situation. Seeing Lu Cha so remorseful, she had some sympathy. Brother Yang, why don't we just forget about it? Let's spare him. Chapter 994. Shenhua was fine except for being frightened. When she got in the car, Shenhua's mood returned to normal. How did they catch you? Asked Yang Ming. I went out to play with Yang Xiaobo. As Shenhua said this, her face turned red. Then, she continued, I just went out and was going to take the subway. Before I got to the subway station, these three people rushed out of a van and caught me. Later, I met you in the elevator of the heavenly earth. Yang Ming nodded and continued, then do you believe that Lu Cha looked for you just to eat? Shenhua was not a 3-year-old child. She hesitated and shook her head. I don't know, but they seem to be afraid of you. They probably won't do such things again. Yang Ming smiled and said nothing. Shenhua was like most girls. She was very soft-hearted. It was normal to think this way. However, when he saw Jing Xiaolu sitting in the front passenger seat, he raised his mouth slightly. Yang Ming shook his head. Looking at her disdainful look, if this happened to Jing Xiaolu, it would be good if she didn't beat Lu Cha to a pulp. He had to admit that Jing Xiaolu was a decisive person, but it may also be related to her growing environment. If she didn't bully others, she would be bullied by others. At the place where he agreed to meet with Shenhua, Yang Xiaobo was a little anxious. He didn't see Shenhua for a long time. Suddenly, he saw Yang Ming's car stop next to him. Shenhua jumped out of the car and was stunned. She said, Big brother, little Hua, how did you meet? I saw Shenhua waiting for the car on the road. She probably waited for a long time, so I gave her a ride. Yang Ming said with a smile. This was what he said to Shenhua in the car. He wouldn't tell Yang Xiaobo about this for the time being, so that he wouldn't worry after hearing it. It turned out to be like this. Yang Xiaobo said with a smile, Big brother, then you go and do your work. Thank you. What are you thanking me for? We are a family. Yang Ming waved his hand and didn't stay much. After a few words with Yang Xiaobo, he drove away. I thought something happened to you. You scared me to death. When Yang Xiaobo saw that Yang Ming's car was far away, he reached out and hugged Shenhua as he spoke with concern. What could possibly happen to me? Besides, with your big brother escorting her, nothing can happen to her. Shenhua said with a smile, let me ask you something. How many girlfriends does your big brother have? The one in the car today isn't the one we saw last time. This. Young Xiaobo was not very easy to explain. He wasn't very clear about his brother's matters. Big brother is romantic. It's okay to have more girlfriends, right? Nothing. Shenhua glared at him and said, do you also want to find a few more? Me? How is that possible? Young Xiaobo quickly shook his head. I'm not as powerful as my elder brother. Besides, you are enough for me. That's more like it. Shenhua smiled sweetly and took Yang Xiaobo's hand. The two of them walked side by side to the cinema. Yang Ming, is that Lu Cha also a company official? There were no outsiders in the car, so Jing Xiaolu asked. His father is Lu Chan. He is a vice president of Heavenly Earth. Yang Ming did not hide it. Jing Xiaolu already knew a lot of things, so it was not a big deal to know more. Miscarriage. Jing Xiaolu was stunned and suddenly laughed. No way. This name is too fierce. Miscarriage. Wahahaha. Hee, it's quite funny. When Jing Xiaolu said this, Yang Ming suddenly felt that there was something wrong with the name Lu Chan. He didn't know what his mother was thinking when she gave birth to him. I know that Chu Kai. His father is Chu Mingliang. He is the vice president of our company. I have seen Chu Kai come to the company, but I don't think Chu Kai will have any impression of me, said Jing Xiaolu. She was just a small employee, so Chu Kai naturally would not pay attention to her. You know quite well. Yang Ming laughed after listening. Indeed, Jing Xiaolu was right. Chu Kai's father was indeed called Chu Mingliang. Yang Ming. Jing Xiaolu hesitated and suddenly said, do you want to use this matter to purge the company? After Yang Ming heard Jing Xiaolu's words, his heart suddenly went thump. He looked at Jing Xiaolu with some surprise. Why do you say that? I'm just guessing. Jing Xiaolu smiled and said, with your character, you won't let go of the people who angered you so easily, right? Back then, I was a girl. You poured porridge on my head, and we had a small conflict because of the seating problem. And the two of them intended to kidnap and molest your sister-in-law. Can you let them go so easily? So I guess it's not that you don't want to touch them, but you have some scruples. You are afraid that you will affect the whole situation. So you are waiting for the right opportunity to do it again. Otherwise, if you just teach the two brats a lesson, you won't be able to purge the company. Yang Ming was completely surprised this time. He looked at Jing Xiaolu with some astonishment. He didn't expect this girl's insight to be so strong. He originally thought that she was just a delinquent girl. He didn't expect her to say such a thing. Yang Ming did think so too. Some malignant tumors in the company must be purged. Jing Xiaolu was half right, but the other half was what Yang Ming saw before he entered the room. It was Chu Kai's expression. Yang Ming wanted to figure out what Chu Kai was planning, so he couldn't start too early. However, Yang Ming probably wouldn't have thought of this if he didn't see it with his own eyes. Yang Ming probably wouldn't have thought of it. So it was very rare for Jing Xiaolu to think of this. How did you know? Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu. This time, he admired her from the bottom of his heart. How is it? I'm not bad, right? I'm not as useless as you think, right? Jing Xiaolu said proudly, do you need me to give you some advice? Let me tell you. I'm a qualified military counselor. You? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. I thought you would only give advice on some emotional matters. Those are trivial matters. Jing Xiaolu shook her head and said, in fact, what I'm best at is figuring out the psychology of others. When I cheated the rich guys of their money, I was constantly figuring out their psychology so that they would be willing to give me money. Okay, do you think I'm a rich guy? Yang Ming said, dumbfounded. Hee, from a certain point of view, you are indeed a rich guy. Jing Xiaolu nodded solemnly and said, I helped you analyze your relationship, so you spent money to buy clothes for me and treat me to a meal. Isn't that also a kind of big deal? Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. I give in to you. This is also fine. According to what you said, I can't be a sucker in the future. I'm just kidding. Jing Xiaolu said, why are you so stingy? Hey, I'm talking to you. Hee, what are you talking about? Don't you want to continue shopping? Yang Ming smiled and said, I'll continue to be cheated by you. Yang Ming, do you think I'm very good? Jing Xiaolu continued to strike while the iron was hot. You take me in. I will give you advice on big and small matters in the future. I will give you a hand. What do you think? You. Yang Ming sighed. I didn't expect you to be so smart. But you should use your intelligence more on work. Don't always think about being someone's mistress. What's so good about being a mistress? Can you be happy? Yes. Jing Xiaolu nodded affirmatively. I'll definitely be very happy. Forget it. I won't talk about this with you. It doesn't make sense. Yang Ming was somewhat helpless. In the past, Yang Ming was known as a person who was full of bullshit, unreasonable, and legendary. Now, he had nothing to do with Jing Xiaolu. It will make sense sooner or later. Jing Xiaolu raised her eyebrows and said, when you feel that you can't leave me, you won't say that anymore. Jing Xiaolu didn't expect Yang Ming to be so smart. In the beginning, she didn't dare to show that she was too smart. She was afraid that Yang Ming would be disgusted because the books said that men hated women who were smarter than them. However, when she saw that Yang Ming seemed to have everything under control, Jing Xiaolu slowly let go. Occasionally, she showed her cleverness in front of Yang Ming. But really, Yang Ming really looked at her in a new light. Jing Xiaolu felt that she seemed to have grasped another path to success. The women around Yang Ming didn't seem to be able to help him. She guessed that she should be exposed to more of his core secrets. In this way, if Yang Ming became dependent on her, thinking about it, Jing Xiaolu felt happy and more confident in her heart. Yang Ming listened to Jing Xiaolu's words and just smiled. He didn't say anything. Talking to Jing Xiaolu was undoubtedly a waste of energy. The car drove in the direction of the commercial street and stopped in the parking lot of the commercial street again. What do you want to buy in the afternoon? I don't know. I have to look to know. Jing Xiaolu stretched and got out of the car. Yang Ming also got out of the car. He just asked casually just now. He didn't really want to know what Jing Xiaolu wanted to buy because Yang Ming also knew that when women went shopping, they basically didn't have anything specific to buy. They would see it wherever they went. The desire to buy was also randomly generated and not fixed. Yang Ming, I saw a few beautiful clothes in the morning. At that time, I thought they were too expensive, but now I want to buy them. Is that okay? Jing Xiaolu walked 2 steps and suddenly turned back and asked. Yang Ming's forehead was sweating, and there were black lines everywhere. What did you do in the morning? Too expensive. I'm not spending your money. Why do you think it's expensive? He was so angry, but he was too lazy to argue with Jing Xiaolu. He said faintly, whatever. Ha! Yang Ming. You are so good to me. Jing Xiaolu hugged Yang Ming excitedly and kissed Yang Ming's face. Chapter 995. Yang Ming touched the cheek that was kissed by Jing Xiaolu. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She did it deliberately, but it didn't look like it. She didn't do it deliberately, but it seemed premeditated. This Jing Xiaolu, everything is possible, I'm sorry. Jing Xiaolu saw Yang Ming's stunned look and smiled. This is to express my gratitude. It doesn't mean anything else. Don't misunderstand. It's okay. I didn't misunderstand. Yang Ming waved his hand and said helplessly, I know, Western etiquette, it's good that you know. Jing Xiaolu giggled and said without blushing, I'm afraid that you will think that I have ulterior motives. In fact, I don't. Don't think too much, I didn't think too much. Let's go. Hurry up and buy whatever you want. Yang Ming wiped the sweat on his forehead and thought, obviously, you are taking advantage of me. Why does it seem like I'm taking advantage of you? It was still the same shops in the morning. Jing Xiaolu walked around one by one. Yang Ming really couldn't do anything. Women's shopping methods were really different. Obviously, they liked something, but they had to compare and try it repeatedly. Then, they looked at it many times before they decided to buy it. In this regard, Yang Ming analyzed that they probably didn't enjoy the pleasure of buying things, but the feeling of shopping. This time, Yang Ming was not stupid. He immediately paid for the things that Jing Xiaolu liked, so she didn't have to walk around again. Seeing Yang Ming's nervous look, Jing Xiaolu couldn't help but smile, but she was a little lost. When can I go shopping with Yang Ming again like today? Most of the things she bought now were things that were tried in the morning, so the speed was also very fast. The styles were all chosen. She just had to try to see if they fit. Jing Xiaolu was holding a lot of clothes and was checking out with Yang Ming at the cashier's counter, but she saw a man and a woman rushing over here with a murderous look. They held an MP4 in their hands and scolded as they walked, "Where is the manager in your shop? Hurry up and fucking come out, or I will smash your shop and fuck your mother." A waiter hurried over and asked carefully, "Sir, madam, do you have any questions?" Problem. Damn it. This is a big problem. The man pushed the waiter away and continued to walk in the direction of the payment counter. As he walked, he continued to shout, "Where's your boss? Hurry up and get him to come out. Otherwise, I'll call someone to smash the store." "Sir, why don't you tell me what happened first so that I can call the boss?" The waiter caught up with the man and said hurriedly. How did the video of my girlfriend buying clothes in your house and changing clothes in the fitting room get posted online? If I didn't go online, I wouldn't have known. Once I went online, I was shocked. This is a fucking black shop and a brothel. The man cursed. As soon as the man said this, the other customers who were buying things in the store immediately went into an uproar. They exclaimed loudly, "Really? I just went to the fitting room. Could it be that I was also filmed?" These customers put down the clothes in their hands and surrounded the payment counter. The waiter saw that the situation immediately became serious and was a little scared. "Sir, you can't talk nonsense. Our family has been running a shop here for 5 years. There's nothing to say about credibility. How can you say that we secretly filmed it? You know very well whether it was filmed or not. Don't talk so much nonsense. Call your boss out. We're not done." The man slammed the table of the payment counter and shouted loudly, "Sir, everything has to be based on evidence. You don't have any evidence and you're talking nonsense here and affecting the business of our shop. We can call the police." The waiter quickly warned. "Evidence? Of course there is evidence." The man raised the MP4 in his hand and said, "I've already downloaded the video and sent it to this MP4. Call your boss out. We're not done with this." "Is that so? If there is evidence, then show it to everyone." The waiter felt that this man was lying. He was also an old man in this shop. He had never heard of a camera in the shop. I can't show it to you. The man hesitated and said, call your boss first. When the waiter saw the man stuttering, he was even more sure that this guy was here to find trouble. Since you have evidence, why don't you show it to everyone? Therefore, he became more confident and said coldly, Mister, you have evidence but you don't want to show it. Forgive me for being unable to do anything. I am very suspicious of your purpose of coming here. Is it to find trouble? Fuck your mother. When the man heard that the waiter dared to bully him, he immediately became angry. So what if I don't show it to you? If I say there is, then there is. Hurry up. Don't dawdle. Go to your boss. Do you really think that I don't dare to smash your shop? You just changed your clothes inside, right? Yang Ming glanced at Jing Xiaolu and asked. I changed. Jing Xiaolu frowned and nodded. I don't know if there is really a camera in it. Then you. Yang Ming didn't want to continue watching this farce. It had nothing to do with him, but now that it was related to Jing Xiaolu, things were not the same. Although Jing Xiaolu was not someone close to Yang Ming, she was at least a friend, so since Yang Ming saw it, it was impossible for him to ignore it. It's okay. I just took off my coat. I didn't take off my underwear. Jing Xiaolu smiled and said, in this regard, I have always been very careful. Jing Xiaolu had been in a mixed society since she was a child. She had probably seen this kind of thing a lot. She always carefully protected herself, which was a good advantage. Then do whatever you want. If you dare to smash my shop, you have to compensate according to the price. The waiter said coldly without fear. At this time, a middle-aged fat man walked over quickly and asked while walking, what's the matter? What happened? Manager Wang. The waiter looked up and saw the fat man. He quickly said, this is the case. This customer said that she was trying on clothes in the fitting room in our shop. She was secretly photographed and posted on the internet. Oh. Manager Wang nodded and then said, who said it? I'm the manager here. My surname is Wang. What's going on? You are the manager. The man glanced at Manager Wang and said, just in time. I'm looking for you. Let's go to your office and talk. If you have anything to say, just say it here. Manager Wang's face sank. You are making a lot of noise here and scaring away the customers. If I don't explain it here, how can I do business in the future? Oh. You mean that I was not secretly photographed, but deliberately came to find trouble? The man glared and sneered. I didn't say that. However, after you made a scene here, what do you mean by going to the office? It's better to make it clear and let everyone see who is responsible. Manager Wang said, unwilling to be outdone. Damn it, since you want to make a fool of yourself, then don't blame me for being impolite. The man gritted his teeth and said, originally, I wanted to find you to settle this matter privately, but since you want to make a big deal out of it, if you want to watch, then watch. I'm going all out. You can't do it here. The woman beside the man saw that he was about to turn on the MP4 and quickly shouted to stop him. Just do it here. What are you afraid of? However, let's say the ugly words first. After I play it here, our matter won't be so easy to solve. The man said. No problem. If you can really take out effective evidence that you were secretly photographed, we will do what you say. If you want me to compensate you 1 million, I will accept it. Manager Wang had never installed any cameras in the fitting room. Moreover, he had just asked other people in the shop to check, but they didn't find anything unusual. That was why he was so confident when he spoke. That's what you said. As the man spoke, he took out the MP4 and pressed the play button. The surrounding people immediately burst into laughter. However, the woman's appearance was clearly seen. It was the girlfriend of the man who had flipped out. At this moment, the woman was already covering her face and standing behind the man, not daring to make a sound. However, the man was extremely angry. "Look for yourselves. Is this your fitting room? Here, here, and here are all marked. I have already checked. There is no doubt that this is your fitting room." Manager Wang's face changed. Although the video wasn't very clear, he could still recognize the fitting room in his shop. However, he pondered for a moment and said, "This is the fitting room in our shop. However, I am very suspicious. How can a normal person go to try on clothes and do a striptease in it? Why do I think it looks like a show? This isn't deliberately recorded by you to blackmail us, right?" The man's face changed. He was suddenly speechless by Manager Wang's words. His face was red, and he was a little angry. "I admit that it's wrong for my girlfriend to dance in there, but no one said that dancing is not allowed in the fitting room. In short, I am very suspicious of your motives. However, since you don't believe me, let's go to the fitting room and take a look. If we can find the camera, I will still say the same thing. I will compensate you 1 million. Manager Wang said confidently. "Let's go." The man snorted and said, "Wait." Yang Ming stood up and stopped in front of Manager Wang with a smile. "What do you want?" Manager Wang was stunned, but he didn't expect that there would be another customer standing up. "Just now, my friend also tried on clothes in the fitting room. If we find the camera, will you also compensate me some money?" Yang Ming asked coldly. Looking at Qing Yao Jin, who came out halfway, Manager Wang was suddenly inexplicable, but there was no way. He thought that Yang Ming also wanted to take advantage of the situation, so he said, "Whatever. If we find the camera, I will give you however much money you want. I want this shop of yours. Are you going to give it to me?" Yang Ming asked with a smile. "This." When Manager Wang saw Yang Ming say this, he was suddenly speechless. "This has nothing to do with you. Please don't get involved. Be careful that I call the police and say that you are blackmailing. Call the police." Yang Ming was suddenly amused. Originally, he was bored. Today, Jing Xiaolu helped him again, so Yang Ming decided to find some compensation for her. No matter how many photos were taken of Jing Xiaolu, at least she was a victim, so Yang Ming had no problem asking for some money. However, this Manager Wang's words were a bit unpleasant. Yang Ming sneered and said, "Call the police." "Okay, you can call the police now. Do you need me to help you?" Manager Wang saw that Yang Ming was not scared off, and his heart was a little confused. Seeing that Yang Ming was fearless, he must be a person with some background. He wasn't the kind of person who could be easily fooled, so he clenched his teeth and said, "Okay, if we find the camera, I will also compensate you 1 million. What about us? We just tried it." The other people who bought the clothes didn't want to do it, and they all shouted. Manager Wang had confidence in himself anyway, so he simply said impatiently, "If you find it, each person will compensate 1 million. Everyone gave up and followed Manager Wang into the fitting room, but the space in the fitting room was limited. It could only accommodate 2 people at the same time. So, the man who first made trouble went in with Manager Wang. Everyone was waiting anxiously outside. Only Yang Ming was fearless. After a while, the man came out in frustration, but Manager Wang was full of smiles. "How is it? You have checked it yourself, right? It is impossible for us to have a camera here. I advise you to leave quickly. Otherwise, I will call the police to arrest you." Although the man was unwilling, after his own investigation, there was indeed no camera in the fitting room. When people saw the man's expression, they knew that he didn't find anything. Most people also had the mentality of watching a farce. Seeing that there was nothing else at the moment, they all dispersed. They also thought that this man was just casually looking for trouble, so they didn't take it seriously. "Are you done checking?" Yang Ming walked forward with a smile. He glanced at Manager Wang and said, "It should be my turn to go in and see, right?" Manager Wang didn't expect Yang Ming to be so persistent, so he sneered, "You go." Yang Ming didn't care about Manager Wang's tone. Instead, he lifted his leg and entered the fitting room. He looked around and finally, his eyes stopped on the clothes hook in the fitting room. Yang Ming smiled and reached out. He pulled hard and took off the clothes hook. At the end of the clothes hook, he pulled out a miniature camera. It was very delicate and small. It was only the size of a thumb. With the disguise of the clothes hook, it was difficult to find. "What is this?" "Manager Wang, don't tell me that this is an electric clothes hook." Yang Ming raised the thing in his hand and said, "This." Manager Wang's cold sweat suddenly came out. What the hell is going on? Which son of a bitch installed a camera in here? Fuck your mother. I'll let you pretend. I'll let you pretend. The originally depressed man suddenly seemed to have eaten stimulants again. He grabbed Manager Wang's collar and began to slap him. "You put another one on me. It's quite hidden, but it can't fool the master. Are you done for? You've been exposed, right? Okay, stop hitting." Yang Ming patted the man's shoulder. "Call the police." "Oh." The man could see that he was very grateful to Yang Ming. Yang Ming asked him to stop, so he immediately stopped. He nodded and said, "Okay, I'll listen to you. Then, let's call the police." Soon, the police arrived. The camera and Manager Wang were brought back to the police station. Yang Ming and the man also went with them. When taking the statement, Yang Ming learned that the man was called Zhang Zhishan, which was only one word different from Lu Zhishan. As for how to compensate, it was naturally a follow-up problem. As for Manager Wang's store, the police had contacted the Department of Industry and Commerce to temporarily seal it. They would make a final decision after the investigation results. Coming out of the police station, Zhang Zhishan held on to Yang Ming and refused to let him go. He wanted to invite him to dinner. "There's no need to eat." Yang Ming waved his hand and said, "I still have other things to do." "Don't, this time it's all thanks to you. Otherwise, not only would I be humiliated by others, but I wouldn't be able to solve the problem." Zhang Zhishan sighed. "You're still the best. If I don't thank you, I won't feel comfortable." "You're not a local?" Yang Ming asked curiously. "No, actually, I came here to find someone. I had nothing to do, so I surfed the internet in an internet cafe. I didn't expect to accidentally see a video of me and my girlfriend when I came here to travel and buy clothes last summer. So I downloaded it and prepared to seek justice." Zhang Zhishan said. "So that's the case. Then I won't delay your search." Yang Ming smiled and said, "I really have something to do in a while." "Then, you leave your phone number with me. I'll call you when I'm done," said Zhang Zhishan. Seeing that Zhang Zhishan was so insistent, Yang Ming had no choice but to leave his phone number with Zhang Zhishan. "Right, buddy, what's your name?" "I don't know your name yet." Zhang Zhishan asked as he saved. In the police station before, most of the police officers knew Yang Ming, so Yang Ming's statement was naturally very simple. Zhang Zhishan's statement took a long time, and the main victim was him. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu were actually nothing. Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't hide it. "What?" Zhang Zhishan was shocked and suddenly shouted, "You are Yang Ming." Chapter 996. When Yang Ming heard Zhang Jishin calling him, he was stunned. He asked curiously, "What's wrong? Do you know me?" Zhang Jishin shook his head and said, "I don't know you, but I was entrusted by someone to find you. I want to give you something, and, entrusted by someone. Give me something." Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable. "Who entrusted you to find me? Do you have friends in Yunnan?" asked Zhang Jishin. "Yunnan? Friends?" Yang Ming frowned. "How can I have friends in Yunnan?" Suddenly, Yang Ming was shocked. He thought of a person and suddenly blurted out, "Lanling." "Then it seems that it should be right." Zhang Jishin nodded and said, "Originally, I wanted to check your ID card. I have Miss Lan's ID number here, but you said Miss Lan's name all of a sudden, so it can't be fake." Yang Ming suddenly blushed with shame. When did Lanling get to know these two people? The man was big and rough. Although he was a bit reckless, he wasn't an evil person. However, the woman was really unflattering. She looked gentle and quiet. Why did she suddenly run to the fitting room to do a striptease? However, it was none of his business. Yang Ming couldn't ask so much. "You should look at the ID card, so as not to make a mistake." Yang Ming said, "However, you should also have something to prove your identity, right?" "Yes, yes." Zhang Jishin nodded. He took out a piece of paper from his pocket and handed it to Yang Ming. "You should be familiar with the handwriting on this, right?" Yang Ming took the piece of paper handed over by Zhang Jishin. He saw that his name and ID number were copied on it. From the handwriting, it was undoubtedly Lanling's. Yang Ming's eyesight was better than the average person, and he was very sensitive to Lanling's handwriting, so he was sure that it shouldn't be fake. Yang Ming handed his ID card to Zhang Jishin. After Zhang Jishin finished checking, he returned the ID card to Yang Ming. He nodded and said, "There won't be a mistake. You really are Yang Ming. All right, then the thing that Lanling asked you to give me." Yang Ming tried his best to sound calm, but it was difficult to suppress the excitement in his heart. There had been no news of Lanling for a long time. Now that she had sent someone to give him something, how could Yang Ming not be excited? "It's here." Zhang Jishin carefully took out a small box from his arms and handed it to Yang Ming. He said, "Miss Lan asked me to pass this to you." "Thank you." Yang Ming suppressed the excitement in his heart and took the small box. He wanted to open it on the spot, but because there were outsiders present, he could only give up and carefully put it away in his arms, afraid that he would break it. "You're welcome." Zhang Jishin smiled honestly. "What a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here." Hee, but Mr. Yang, you are really amazing. Even the camera couldn't hide from your eyes. I'm just more careful." Yang Ming waved his hand and said, "Why did you suddenly call me Mr. Yang? It sounds awkward. You are Miss Lan's friend. I naturally have to be respectful, and..." Zhang Jishin said until here. He hesitated for a while and said, "Mr. Yang, don't you want to take a look at the thing that Miss Lan gave you?" "Oh, this, I will look at it when I go back." Yang Ming was a little puzzled. "I'm not in a hurry." "Why are you in a hurry?" "I still have something else to do today. I will treat you to a meal another day." After Yang Ming finished, he waited for Zhang Jishin to say goodbye to him. After all, the words were very obvious, but Zhang Jishin still stood in front of him, unmoved and not saying goodbye. Yang Ming was a little helpless. His words were very obvious. Why was Zhang Jishin still unmoved? So he had to say, "Then that's it. I will go first." Seeing that Yang Ming was going to leave, Zhang Jishin was a little embarrassed. He hesitated for a long time and said, "Mr. Yang, where are you going?" "I will accompany you, you accompany me." Yang Ming said, "You don't have to accompany me." "Brother Zhang, I know you are very enthusiastic, but I really have something to do. I can't accompany you. Let's eat together another day, okay?" "No. Mr. Yang, why don't you take a look at the thing that Miss Lan gave you first? There is a letter that Miss Lan wrote to you." Zhang Jishin said hesitantly. Yang Ming wondered, "My wife wrote a love letter to me. What does it have to do with you when I read it? Why do I feel that you are more anxious than me? What is going on with this Zhang Jishin? Is it a scam?" Seeing Yang Ming's strange expression, Zhang Jishin had to say, "Mr. Yang, in fact, you will understand when you read the letter that Miss Lan gave you. I am the bodyguard that Miss Lan sent to you." "What?" Yang Ming suddenly opened his mouth wide after listening. He looked at Zhang Jishin incredulously and said, "You said that you are the bodyguard that Lan Ling found for me?" Zhang Jishin nodded and said with a smile, "Mr. Yang, I am the bodyguard that Miss Lan sent to you to protect your safety. My code name is 007, 007. Yang Ming fainted. "Damn, James Bond." "Not James Bond." Zhang Jishin shook his head. "I am 007. There were suddenly black lines on Yang Ming's head. This Lan Ling, where did she find such a clown to be her bodyguard? Is there a mistake? Yang Ming was somewhat helpless. "Mr. 007, look at me. I don't need your protection," Zhang Jishin smiled bitterly. "Mr. Yang, I was sent by Miss Lan. She asked me to follow you, so I must follow you. Don't make it difficult for me. You will understand when you read the letter that Miss Lan wrote to you. She asked you to follow me. Why are you so obedient?" Yang Ming was somewhat helpless. "Is she your mother?" However, after saying it, he regretted it. "She is your mother. Am I not your father? If I had a son like you, wouldn't I be pissed off? You are the best, and your girlfriend is also the best." "Ugh, you can say that." After Zhang Jishin listened to Yang Ming's words, he thought it was a serious matter and nodded. "What? What did you say?" Yang Ming's eyes widened. He almost couldn't stand still and fell to the ground. "Miss Lan, actually." Speaking of this, Zhang Jishin glanced at Jing Xiaolu next to Yang Ming and didn't continue to speak. "Xiaolu, you go back to the car and wait for me for a while." There were some things that Yang Ming didn't hide from Jing Xiaolu, but there were some things that he couldn't let her know, especially Lan Ling's matter. Some things involved voodoo and other secrets. Yang Ming didn't want more people to know. Jing Xiaolu didn't say anything. Although she was curious, she also knew that Yang Ming and Zhang Jishin must have something secret to talk about. Yang Ming didn't hide many things from her, except now, so Jing Xiaolu also knew that this must be Yang Ming's privacy. She wouldn't be an annoying person, so after nodding, she walked quickly to Yang Ming's car parked at the entrance of the police station. Seeing that Jing Xiaolu had gone far, Zhang Jishin said, "Actually, I am Miss Lan's 7th apprentice. Miss Lan is my master." Master, that is to say, a teacher is like a father. But Miss Lan is a woman, so it's not too much to say that she is my mother. Hey! Yang Ming's shock today was simply incomparable. Lan Ling still has apprentices. And it sounds like a lot. This guy is the 7th, which means that Lan Ling has at least 7 apprentices. No wonder this guy's codename is 007. You see. Mr. Yang, I can't disobey my master's orders, so don't make it difficult for me. Just take me. Zhang Jishin said pitifully. Take me. When Yang Ming heard Zhang Jishin say these 3 words, he suddenly felt a chill, and his whole body was covered with goosebumps. If I really let this guy follow me, I will be a joke every day. You see, I don't need your protection. Why don't we have a fight? If you win, I will let you stay. If you lose, then go back quickly. Yang Ming thought for a long time, but he couldn't find a reason to refuse, so he had no choice but to say so. Mr. Yang, then I am definitely not your opponent. Zhang Zhishan smiled bitterly and shook his head. Then why are you still protecting me? Yang Ming looked at Zhang Zhishan inexplicably. My expertise is voodoo. Zhang Zhishan's previous playful expression suddenly returned to a serious expression. Master said that there may be someone here who is bad for you, and the other party is a person who is good at voodoo. Master is afraid that you will be in danger, so she sent me and my girlfriend to protect you. Master said that although your body is immune to most voodoo, there are some powerful voodoo that you can't resist. Voodoo. Yang Ming suddenly realized. So that's how it is. Thinking of the person who was sent by Yun Guangdo to put voodoo on him, Yang Ming suddenly felt a little scared. Yes, in terms of skill, most people are not my opponent. Even if I can't beat them, I am more than enough to protect myself. Only voodoo is something I don't understand, and I can't use ordinary methods to deal with it. Thinking of this, Yang Ming also understood Lan Ling's good intentions. This girl, thousands of miles away, but she never forgot about my safety. However, what surprised Yang Ming was that it seemed that in this short 4 months, little Ling Ling's progress was very fast. She even became a master. Your girlfriend is also Lan Ling's disciple? Yang Ming glanced at Zhang Zhishan's girlfriend and asked. Yes. Zhang Zhishan nodded and explained, since Mr. Yang is one of us, then I won't hide it anymore. Xiao Qi is actually not the kind of person you think. In the video you saw, it was because Xiao Qi asked someone to put voodoo on her. When the voodoo breaks out, the person will take off their clothes and do some weird actions. Chapter 997. Voodoo. Yang Ming was surprised. He looked at Zhang Zhishan's girlfriend, Xiao Qi. He thought to himself, so that's the case. No wonder such a quiet person would suddenly do such an outrageous action. This Zhang Zhishan, I really don't know what words to use to describe him. He seems to be a little stupid. How can his girlfriend's video be played in front of so many people? However, thinking that this video had already spread on the internet, it actually didn't matter. It was just that it was in front of Xiao Qi, so Xiao Qi's face was a little bad. Yes. Zhang Zhishan nodded and said, that day, Xiao Qi found that her body was not right, so we quickly found a store and pretended to buy clothes. When Xiao Qi just entered the fitting room, the voodoo was activated. As a result, you know, so that's the case. Yang Ming nodded. The person who installed the camera is really hateful. Yeah, so I went to find them. Fortunately, I had your help. Otherwise, we have no evidence to prove that there is a camera in this store. Zhang Zhishan shook his head and said, Mr. Yang, can you let me follow you now? I really have something to do today. How about this? Where do you live? I will go to you at night. You see, I won't do anything during the day. Yang Ming had no choice. Since Lan Ling sent him, and it was for his own good, Yang Ming could only let Zhang Zhishan stay. However, he had to admit that Zhang Zhishan was indeed a little stupid. Mr. Yang, how about I follow you from afar? Zhang Zhishan hesitated and said, Master asked me to always follow you to protect you. If there is any abnormality, I have to report to Master. Fuck. Report? You still want to report? Are you kidding me? I am going to pick up a girl now. If you report to Lan Ling, isn't this harming me? Although that little girl is not very jealous, she is still a woman. She cares so much about me, but I am here with another woman. If she hears about it, how can she feel good? Oh, right. Yang Ming was shocked. He asked Zhang Jishin, you said that you can report to Lan Ling. Do you mean that you are in contact with her? You can contact her. I can contact him. Zhang Jishin replied. How do we contact him? Can you do it now? Can you contact Lan Ling? Yang Ming was very excited. He grabbed Zhang Jishin's shoulder and asked. Mr. Yang. I can't contact him now. Zhang Jishin said with some difficulty. Then you mean? Yang Ming hurriedly asked. I also send messages to Master. Every day when she has time, she reads them and gives me instructions to reply. Zhang Jishin said. It turns out to be like this. Yang Ming sighed. Zhang Jishin's method of contacting Lan Ling was no different from his. However, it was no wonder. There was no cell phone signal where Lan Ling was. She could only receive a signal at a specific location. It was normal to receive a text message once a day. Mr. Yang, then I will follow you. You haven't finished buying your clothes, right? Why don't we go back and continue? Let's call it a day. I'm a little tired. Although I still have a few clothes that I want to buy. I'm really unwilling. You promised me to buy whatever I want. Jing Xiaolu said with a sigh. Since you want to buy so much, then go and buy it. Anyway, you have a car. It's convenient. Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's appearance. He didn't know if she was pretending or really felt that it was a pity. After today's incident, I really don't want to move anymore. Jing Xiaolu said with a sad face, but I don't want to miss this good opportunity. You can't do this, and you can't do that. Then, what do you want? Yang Ming said helplessly. How about this? When I'm on vacation next time, how about you accompany me to go shopping again? Jing Xiaolu pretended to have a bright idea, but in Yang Ming's view, she seemed to have premeditated. Yang Ming was speechless. If he promised her, she would be even more insatiable. No, I don't have time. TSK, I just want to help you study the progress between you and that girl out of obligation. I want to see if you have any doubts. I will help you solve your doubts. Since you don't want to, then forget it. Jing Xiaolu said indifferently. Solve my doubts. Yang Ming was stunned, then he smiled and said, well, if I really want to ask something, then I will ask you out. What kind of person are you? You just look for me if you have something, but you don't look for me if you don't have anything. You are really hypocritical. Jing Xiaolu snorted and said, I despise you. Yang Ming broke into a sweat. Why do I feel like a heartless person? It seems like I have done something wrong. I only feel like this when I am with Jing Xiaolu. Yang Ming said helplessly, okay. When you are on vacation next time, if I am free, I will accompany you to buy things, but you have to hurry up. If you dawdle like today again, I will not accompany you. Don't worry, hee. Jing Xiaolu nodded, but she thought in her heart, clothes, the styles change very quickly. The next time, it will probably be spring. The clothes I see this time should be taken off the shelves. If there is no one to sell, then don't blame me. It is inevitable to choose again at that time. Yang Ming naturally didn't know about Jing Xiaolu's cunning mind. Otherwise, he would be furious to death. Where are you going? I will send you back first. Yang Ming said. I have to go to the pharmacy to get some medicine for my grandmother first. The medicine in the hospital is too expensive. Fortunately, the doctor is kind. He gave me a prescription and told me to buy it at the pharmacy. Jing Xiaolu smiled and said, you can send me to the pharmacy. Your grandmother is sick, and you still buy so many clothes by yourself. Yang Ming felt that Jing Xiaolu was a bit heartless. AI. Jing Xiaolu sighed and said, "It is an old illness. It was the root of the illness when I was young. At that time, I didn't treat it in time. Now I have to lie in bed and keep taking medicine. So serious." Yang Ming thought it was an urgent illness. He didn't expect it to be such a chronic illness. This kind of illness was the most torturous and the most expensive. It was also hard for a girl like Jing Xiaolu. He already knew about Jing Xiaolu's life from Guxinyao. She lost her parents since she was a child. She and her grandmother depended on each other. Now, knowing that Jing Xiaolu's grandmother was still sick in bed and had no income, Yang Ming began to sympathize and admire Jing Xiaolu from the bottom of his heart. What kind of perseverance was needed to shoulder such a heavy burden? A person still had to pay tuition fees to go to school and earn money to buy medicine for her grandmother. This was a bit too heavy for a young girl. Looking at Jing Xiaolu's giggling and brainless appearance, it was actually not the case. Through today's detailed contact, Yang Ming had discovered that Jing Xiaolu was not a simple girl, but a very assertive, insightful, and strong girl. In today's society, it was a miracle that Jing Xiaolu could still maintain her innocence. However, it could be seen from the side that Jing Xiaolu's wisdom was extraordinary. In fact, it's nothing. Jing Xiaolu smiled and said, "The doctor said that there is no danger to my life. It is just a cloudy and rainy day. My legs and feet are uncomfortable. I can't do strenuous work usually, but I am healthy." Yang Ming sighed slightly and said, "Is there any hope of curing?" "Yes, but it is very small." Jing Xiaolu shook her head. "Then why not? Is it a matter of money?" Yang Ming had money. If it was really a matter of money, Yang Ming did not mind lending a helping hand. In short, the two were now considered to be relatively compatible friends. "That's not it. If I really want to do the surgery, I have to collect enough money for the surgery." Jing Xiaolu said, "It's just that the doctor said that my grandmother is old and not suitable for surgery. Although there is hope to cure, there is also a high possibility of failure. Then, my grandmother will be completely paralyzed. Now, at least she can walk around and play cards with the neighbors. If she is completely paralyzed, what should she do?" Yang Ming nodded after listening. It turned out to be the case. If this is the case, then it is better not to treat. "I think so too. After all, my grandmother is old. It is not suitable for surgery. The doctor said that it is better to treat it conservatively and drink some Chinese medicine to relieve the pain," said Jing Xiaolu. "Which pharmacy do you want to go to? You should have a fixed pharmacy to get the medicine, right?" Yang Ming asked as he started the car. "And go to the Defa community. My family lives there. There is a pharmacy opened by an acquaintance at the door. He gives me a discount," said Jing Xiaolu. Defa community. Yang Ming had never heard of it. However, it was not surprising. Although Yang Ming was a native of Songjiang, there were many communities now. Many old communities were renamed after the establishment of property management companies, so Yang Ming did not know where it was. He opened the navigation and set the navigation. The address of the Defa community was really there. "Actually, you don't need to use the navigation. I will tell you how to get there," said Jing Xiaolu. "Then why didn't you say so earlier?" Yang Ming put away the navigation. "I thought you didn't know the way." "You don't know the way. No matter how stupid I am, it is impossible for me not to find my own home," said Jing Xiaolu. The Defa community was quite easy to get to. There were basically no small roads from here. It was a flat road that led directly to the entrance of a community that looked old. "It's there, the Defa pharmacy." Jing Xiaolu pointed to a prescription with a red cross hanging not far away. Yang Ming parked the car in front of the pharmacy and got off with Jing Xiaolu. Xiaolu, you are here to get the medicine for your grandmother again. The owner of the pharmacy was also in this community. He had been a neighbor with Jing Xiaolu's family for decades, so he was particularly enthusiastic when he saw Jing Xiaolu. I am here to get the medicine for my grandmother. Jing Xiaolu nodded. Why are you back so early today? Don't you need to work? The pharmacy owner asked as he began to get the medicine for Jing Xiaolu. Is it the same prescription as last time? She looked at Yang Ming incredulously. In her opinion, Yang Ming wouldn't care much about her affairs. It was better to draw a clear line with her, but she didn't expect Yang Ming to take the initiative to pay for her. Auntie Zhang was also stunned, then she smiled and said, "Let me calculate." When Auntie Zhang saw Yang Ming's appearance, she had no doubt in her heart. The two of them must be dating. Otherwise, is this Yang Ming a fool? He still wants to pay for Jing Xiaolu. A total of 1,368 yuan. Auntie Zhang calculated and said. Yang Ming nodded and took out 2,000 yuan from his wallet. He handed it to Auntie Zhang and said, "Pay 2,000 yuan first. The rest of the money will be kept here. Xiaolu will still come to get the medicine in the future." Seeing that Jing Xiaolu didn't object, Auntie Zhang accepted the money. Her family wasn't very good. The store also needed cash flow. It was good to get some money back as soon as possible, so she didn't refuse. When they were out of the pharmacy, Jing Xiaolu asked Yang Ming in surprise, "Why did you pay for me?" "I said that no matter what you buy today, I will pay for it." Yang Ming smiled and said, "Of course, it refers to what is within my ability. If it is beyond this ability, then I can't do anything." Yang Ming actually had some sympathy for Jing Xiaolu. This girl didn't have it easy. If he could help, he would help. Even if they couldn't be lovers, he should help even if they were friends. TSK, boring. Jing Xiaolu shook her head and said, "I thought you changed your mind and wanted to support me. Don't joke around." Yang Ming frowned. "We are already downstairs of your house. Why are you still not serious? If you don't want me to pay, then you can pay me back when you get your salary." "I don't want it. Do you think I'm a fool?" Jing Xiaolu said, "It's good that you pay for me every time. I can save money to buy cosmetics." "Cosmetics? Come on. Your face looks better if you don't put anything on." Yang Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. "What? The cosmetics I used before were too low grade. They were all a few yuan on the street. Can it look good on them? When I have money, I will buy a few hundred yuan." Jing Xiaolu said with some yearning. Yang Ming couldn't help but smile when he heard Jing Xiaolu's words. "You know that a few yuan is not good, but you still put it on. Isn't that a problem? Stop it." Jing Xiaolu was a little annoyed. She thought, "Isn't that because I don't have money? Which girl doesn't love beauty? If I don't have money, what should I buy?" He sent Jing Xiaolu to an old-fashioned 3-story building. Jing Xiaolu said, "It's here. I'm going home, and goodbye." Yang Ming stopped the car and said. Jing Xiaolu got out of the car and stood outside the car with her hand on the door. She shook her hand at Yang Ming. Yang Ming said helplessly, "Okay, don't say goodbye. The only warmth in my car will be gone by you later." Jing Xiaolu suddenly leaned over and quickly kissed Yang Ming's face. Yang Ming was stunned. He was about to get angry, but he heard Jing Xiaolu say faintly, "Thank you, Yang Ming. Today is the happiest day in my life. It feels good to be pampered." After that, she closed the door and ran quickly to the corridor. She disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yang Ming saw that Jing Xiaolu was serious, so he hesitated and sighed slightly. He was a little moved in his heart. The contrast between the previous Jing Xiaolu and today's Jing Xiaolu was too big. However, I don't seem to be pampering her, right? Accompanying her shopping and buying things for her was entirely out of gratitude for her help in analyzing the feelings. After leaving Jing Xiaolu's house, Yang Ming looked at the time on the phone. It was already 2:00 in the afternoon. After a while, Zhao Ying would probably be finished with class. Yang Ming felt that he should call Zhao Ying in advance to make an appointment, so that she wouldn't have time later. Thinking of this, Yang Ming dialed Zhao Ying's phone. After the phone was connected, it rang a few times, but it was hung up. Yang Ming was stunned and dialed again. This time, it was even worse. It rang once and was hung up. Yang Ming wondered again. Why didn't Zhao Ying answer the phone? Suddenly, he was shocked. Could it be that Zhao Ying was angry? Thinking of what he said when he chatted with Zhao Ying yesterday, Yang Ming suddenly began to feel nervous. This girl wouldn't hold a grudge, right? And it is very likely. Yesterday, when she saw me eating noodles with Wang Xiaoyan, she must be unhappy in her heart, so she deliberately didn't answer my call at this moment. Yang Ming hesitated and dialed Zhao Ying's phone again, but this time it was worse than the last time. Zhao Ying actually turned off her phone directly. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and touched his chin. This is really difficult. However, Zhao Ying turned off her phone. What else could Yang Ming do? In desperation, he could only go directly to the school. If there was anything, he could say it face to face when he saw Zhao Ying. Yang Ming drove in the direction of the school. On the way, the phone rang with a text message notification. When Yang Ming was waiting for the signal light, he picked up the phone and glanced at it, but he found that it was Zhao Ying's number. Yang Ming quickly opened the text message and read it. I'm in class. What are you doing? Calling me once is not enough. You still want to call me a second time. My classmates are looking at me. After reading Zhao Ying's text message, Yang Ming suddenly had a feeling of being dumbfounded. It seems that I think too much and complicate things. Now that I think about it carefully, it is also true. Although Zhao Ying saw me eating noodles with Wang Xiaoyan, she didn't directly expose it. He still comes to self-study in the middle of winter. He is so sick that he keeps coughing, but he still insists on learning. He can compete with us, said the boy. Yes, dear, I think so too. We are diligent enough to come to self-study every day. There is someone better than us, the girl also said. Yang Ming sweated. He thought, I am thick-skinned enough. Is there anyone who is thicker than me? It's really the best. Yang Ming couldn't stand it anymore. He was ready to get up and leave. Motherfucker, can't I change to another classroom? But he heard the girl say again, the student in front, if you are sick, don't come to self-study. You can study for 1 or 2 days. Rome wasn't built in a day. Yang Ming saw that the girl's breasts were still in the hands of the boy, but she could say such words. He was speechless. Today, he finally saw what is called a ruthless person. I originally thought that I was a very lascivious person. It turns out that I am so pure. Thinking of this, Yang Ming couldn't help but be a little proud. It turns out that I am a very pure person. Yang Ming packed up the things on the table and quickly escaped from the classroom. He really couldn't stand it. Yang Ming looked back at the adulterous man and woman in the classroom. He suddenly realized. No wonder there were only 2 of them in this classroom. Even if there were fewer people in other classrooms, there would be more than 10 people. Yang Ming was cautious this time. He had no experience in self-study for the first time. With the previous lesson, Young Ming observed for a long time. He found a classroom with a strong reading atmosphere and walked in. Young Ming found a quiet place and sat down. He could finally study his memory tree in peace. Where should I start? Young Ming closed his eyes and began to think about how he met Zhao Ying. Well, in fact, he had feelings for Zhao Ying. It should be a long time ago. When Zhao Ying was still his math teacher, before she gave him tutoring, Young Ming had some feelings for Zhao Ying. Compared to Chen Mengyan, Zhao Ying was more mature and plump, which made Young Ming have a special infatuation with her. There was no way to disclose it, and she could only do it secretly for the rest of her life. Although she knew Young Ming first, it seemed that she wasn't as good as Sun Jia. At least Sun Jia could be with Young Ming openly without any scruples. If he finds out, then he finds out. We aren't siblings. What are you afraid of? Young Ming didn't care. You think too much. There is nothing in the world. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter if I think too much or too little. I am really afraid that others will look at me differently. Xiao Qing sighed. Young Ming nodded and expressed his understanding. He also knew what kind of past Xiao Qing had. When she got married, the groom ran away. How ironic was this? If it were a person with poor psychological quality, suicide was possible. And he was Xiao Qing's brother in name. If he was with Xiao Qing, outsiders would definitely say something unpleasant. Young Ming didn't care, but what about Xiao Qing? Young Ming couldn't not think about her. I know. Don't worry. I will be careful. Young Ming said, Sister Xiao Qing, how is godfather and godmother recently? Young Ming had a lot of things to do during this time. Except for going to Lu Weishan's house during the Chinese New Year, he hadn't gone again for almost a month. Mom and Dad's health is not bad. It's just that Lu Tianqi's birthday is coming soon. Their mood is a bit down. Xiao Qing sighed. Lu Tianqi. Yang Ming was stunned. He suddenly remembered that he seemed to have heard his godfather mention that Lu Tianqi was his godfather's son. He suddenly became silent. Right, Sister Xiao Qing, you tell me. What is going on with Lu Tianqi? I noticed that godfather and godmother are very taboo about this topic, so I haven't dared to ask. I also know brother Lu Tianqi. He also graduated from our Songjiang Industry University. Unlike godfather, Lu Tianqi's hobby is bioengineering. At a young age, he is already a little famous in the biological field. Lu Tianqi's paper on bacteria also won an international award. He is a dazzling new star in our country's biological science field. Xiao Qing said, his fiancée is his assistant. She also has great achievements in biology. The couple is young, but their reputation in academia faintly surpasses godfather. Unfortunately, on the eve of the wedding, both of them mysteriously disappeared at the same time. Mysterious disappearance. Young Ming was suddenly somewhat inexplicable. Why is it like a movie? How could a person suddenly disappear? Young Ming said, baffled, didn't the police report? Was there no news later? The police report was reported. Such a well-known scientist disappeared. The pressure of the police is also very great. Xiao Qing shook her head and continued, however, a lot of police forces were used at that time, but they still couldn't find Lu Tianqi's whereabouts. This person seemed to have disappeared from the world. There was no more news. At first, everyone thought that it was a kidnapping, but they didn't receive any calls or messages from the kidnappers. Later, they realized that things were unusual. Even some of the country's special departments participated in the investigation. They even suspected that Lu Tianqi was captured by foreign hostile forces, but there was no result. It turned out to be like this. This was the first time that Yang Ming heard the whole story. He didn't expect Godfather to have such a powerful son who disappeared so strangely. No matter how strong the old man was, there would be times when he was sad. Yeah, so in the past few years, we haven't mentioned this in front of Godfather. We hope that Godfather can forget these unpleasant and sad past, but how can this kind of thing be forgotten? Xiaoqing said, every year on Brother Lu Tianqi's birthday, Godfather will go to the police station again to see if there are any new clues. Although he also knows that there is basically no hope, if there is news, the police will inform him immediately, but Godfather still, Yang Ming nodded. This feeling of losing a loved one was something that ordinary people couldn't understand. I hope Brother Lu can come back. Well, let's not talk about this. Try not to mention it in front of Godfather in the future, so that Godfather won't be sad. Xiaoqing said. I know. Yang Ming said, I am not so stupid. If you have time, go back and accompany Godfather. Godfather is old, and he accepted you as his godson. It is also a comfort. Xiaoqing said, well, it's almost time. I have a graduate student meeting today. I have to go. Don't you want to wait for your classmate? You can stay in my office. Just lock the door when you leave. Okay, then you can go. Yang Ming nodded. If Xiao Ying received the message, she would definitely call back or reply to the message. There was no news now, which proved that she was still in class. Xiaoqing tidied up the things on the table, then took a coat from the closet and put it on. She went out the door. When she was changing clothes, she didn't avoid Yang Ming. After all, the relationship between the two could be said to be close. Xiaoqing didn't mention a word about the day when she was with Sun Jia and Yang Ming. Since she didn't want to say it, Yang Ming naturally wouldn't say it. Yang Ming felt that if Xiaoqing didn't say it, it meant that she acquiesced to this practice. It wouldn't be good if she said it. After Xiaoqing left the office, Yang Ming sat in Xiaoqing's seat and played on the computer. He opened QQ, but there was a QQ number on it, and the password was saved. Yang Ming was a little curious. Isn't this Xiaoqing's QQ number? Thinking of this, Yang Ming wanted to log in to see who was on Xiaoqing's QQ. It wasn't that Yang Ming suspected Xiaoqing, but Yang Ming's curiosity was mischievous. Yang Ming clicked on the login, and the QQ was quickly logged in. He glanced at the status and found that he was online. Yang Ming quickly set himself to invisible. If someone talked to him, he couldn't reply. However, Yang Ming's hand was still a step late. There was a prompt for a new message on the computer. Yang Ming couldn't be helped. He could only click on the chat window. The person who spoke was a woman, and her online name was Xiao Jia. Damn girl, aren't you at work? Why did you open QQ? Said Xiao Jia. Xiao Jia. Yang Ming was stunned. Looking at her tone of speaking to Xiaoqing, could it be the vixen, Sun Jia? Thinking of Sun Jia's chest, Yang Ming smiled lasciviously and clicked on her information. The information was written very plainly with only a few strokes. There was nothing special, but Yang Ming still found a flaw. This Xiao Jia's email address was actually the pinyin of Sun Jia. Ah, it really is Sun Jia. After confirming her identity, Yang Ming decided to tease her. So, he imitated Xiaoqing's tone and sent a message over, I just finished my work. I was exhausted, so I just came up to have a look. But you, a general manager, still have time to chat online. I went up and went invisible in an instant. You even caught me. After sending this sentence, Yang Ming stared at the computer screen nervously, waiting for Sun Jia's reply. In order to further confirm the identity of the other party, Yang Ming tested it again. Chapter 1000. It didn't take long for Xiao Jie to reply, "What's wrong with the general manager?" "There are others. The general manager is just a commander." "Yeah, I'm so free. I'm reading a novel while drinking coffee." Yang Ming broke into a sweat. It turns out that the topics between women are like this. After thinking about it, he sent a message over, "You're so free. I'm so busy. I have already told you not to do that job. How good would it be to come and help me after you quit?" Xiao Jie said. "Right, Yang Ming just came to me." Yang Ming began to enter the topic. He wanted to hear what Sun Jie and Xiao Qing talked about him. "He came. He went to find you. Is he looking for you to do it?" "Ha." Xiao Jie sent a grinning emoji over. "Go to hell. If he wants to do it, he is looking for you." Yang Ming quickly replied with a message, but he regretted it after replying. Xiao Qing usually doesn't talk like this, right? Just as he was nervous, Xiao Jie replied, "I hope he is looking for me. I'm just afraid that you will be jealous, hee hee." "Why would I be jealous? Why don't we do it together? Didn't you feel good that time? I knew it when I heard you moan so loudly." Yang Ming chuckled and replied. He thought, it turns out that Xiao Qing and Sun Jie are so lascivious. The dialogue between women really can't be judged with common sense. "Okay, who is afraid of who? I think you are addicted to the taste." "You want to talk about me," said Xiao Jie. Yang Ming was very happy in his heart. Damn, it turns out that Sun Jie doesn't reject it. "Ha, that's great. This vixen really has the potential for development. She is usually serious to outsiders, but she is flirtatious to me. She is the best candidate for a wife." After knowing Sun Jie's thoughts, Yang Ming didn't dare to talk more. If he was exposed, he would be finished. Anyway, there was already a significant gain. He couldn't be too greedy. So, he said, "It's almost time. I have to meet with the new graduate students in a while. Let's not talk about it first." "Right, you said that I only remembered when we met with the new graduate students. I forgot. What should I do?" said Xiao Jie. "Forgot? What forgot? Have you forgotten what it has to do with me?" Yang Ming was a little confused. "What do you mean you're going to do?" "It's fine as long as I don't forget." Xiao Jie was silent for a while. Yang Ming thought that she thought he had left. Just as he was about to log out of QQ, Xiao Jie sent another message, which made Yang Ming tremble with fear. "Yang Ming, you're pretty good at acting." Damn, it can't be, right? He was exposed just like that. Yang Ming's head suddenly sweated. How did Sun Jie know? Was he trying to trick him? Thinking of this, Yang Ming forced himself to calm down and said, "What Yang Ming?" "Yang Ming left a long time ago. Do you miss him that much?" "Yang Ming, don't play dumb with me." "I know it's you," said little Jia. What was going on? After turning off QQ, Yang Ming went to his own QQ. Then, he added Sun Jie and Xiao Qing's QQ numbers to his own QQ. After looking at it, he didn't know anyone online, so Yang Ming directly turned off the computer. After sitting in Xiao Qing's office for a while, he locked the door and came out. I guess Xiao Ying should be out of class at this moment, right? Walking on campus, it didn't take long for him to receive a message from Zhao Ying. Yang Ming quickly pressed the read button. Class has just ended, but there are still some other things at school. It may be a little later. How about we call it a day? Yang Ming quickly replied, "It's okay. I am already at school. Contact me after you are done." "Okay then." Zhao Ying replied. After receiving an accurate reply, Yang Ming calmed down. He found a bench and sat down. He looked at the people coming and going in the school. It was close to the start of school. There were many students returning to school on campus. Yang Ming was very surprised to be able to become a member of the university campus. Originally, he thought that he definitely couldn't be admitted to university, but he didn't expect to encounter a series of coincidences that made him a college student. In the blink of an eye, the first half of the first semester of freshman year passed. It was like a trance. In this half of the semester, many things happened. Lan Ling, Lin Jiyun, Chen Mengyan, Xiao Ying, Xiao Qing, Sun Jia, and the joys and sorrows. Wang Jitao, the powerful opponent who always found trouble with him, now seemed to be not worth mentioning. Yang Ming sighed. Life is really wonderful. In contemplation and sighing, time passed unknowingly. When Yang Ming's cell phone rang again, the sky was already dark. Yang Ming took out his cell phone. It was Xiao Ying calling. Sister Ying, are you done with your work? Yang Ming picked up the phone. It just ended. Xiao Ying said apologetically, Yang Ming, I'm sorry to let you wait for so long. Are you still at school? I'm still here. How can I leave if I don't wait for you? Yang Ming smiled and said, you don't have to be so polite with me. Where are you? I'll find you. I'm at the graduate building number 3. How about this? You wait for me at the school gate. Let's meet at the school gate. Xiao Ying thought and said, there are too many people here, and the sky is dark. I'm afraid that we will be separated. Okay, then I'll wait for you at the school gate. Yang Ming responded and hung up the phone. The two people arrived at the school gate almost at the same time, but Xiao Ying's eyesight wasn't as good as Yang Ming's. When she was looking around, Yang Ming quietly came behind her and patted her from behind. Yeah. Xiao Ying was shocked and quickly turned around. When she saw that it was Yang Ming, she was relieved. Yang Ming, what are you doing? Are you trying to scare me to death? Hee, I didn't expect Sister Ying to be so timid. Yang Ming laughed. Chapter 1001. Hee, Sister Ying, if you are willing, you can also be Chen Mengyan. Yang Ming smiled. Even a fool could understand the hint in his words. However, although Xiao Ying understood it, she wasn't sure. She just blushed and said, how can I be Chen Mengyan? You only know how to talk nonsense. I'm not Jean Gang who can change shape. Ugh. Yang Ming laughed twice and then said, Sister Ying, you haven't eaten yet. Let's find a place to eat first. Xiao Ying nodded slightly. Her face was flushed with shyness. However, under the moonlight, Xiao Ying wasn't embarrassed. She felt that Yang Ming shouldn't be able to see her face. Where are we going to eat? Xiao Ying asked in a low voice. I don't know, but I heard that the bird flu is quite serious recently. I don't know if the things outside are hygienic or not. How about this? Sister Ying, let's go to the supermarket to buy something and eat at your house. How about that? Yang Ming said with a serious look. Xiao Ying saw that Yang Ming said it seriously. She wanted to laugh in her heart. Bird flu. Wouldn't it be fine if you don't eat chicken and duck? You still talk so much nonsense. You want me to cook and you come up with so many excuses. However, she didn't refute. Instead, she said, okay, but my cooking is not good. Don't think it's not delicious. I have never been a picky eater. Sister Ying, you know that I eat in the heavenly earthly paradise. I eat in the street stalls. I eat in the school cafeteria, and I eat in Sister Ying's kitchen. Yang Ming laughed. When he saw that Xiao Ying agreed, he was suddenly happy. Yang Ming just wanted to create an opportunity to be alone with Zhao Ying. In a big hotel or a small street restaurant, there was no such atmosphere. You only know how to talk nonsense. After listening to Yang Ming's words, Zhao Ying didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She said with some anger, "You were like this in high school. I don't know how many girls you have deceived with this mouth." Hee, then is sistering one of the people who was deceived? Yang Ming said shamelessly. Anyway, Yang Ming's principle was to be thick-skinned. After listening to Yang Ming's words, Zhao Ying's heart suddenly trembled, and then she snorted, "I won't be fooled so easily." It's not easy, but it's possible, isn't it? Yang Ming caught on to the small loophole in Zhao Ying's words. Don't talk nonsense. I am your teacher. After being teased by Yang Ming like this, Zhao Ying's mind suddenly became chaotic. Even her speech was a little sluggish. Teacher. Really? Yang Ming pretended to be deep in thought and frowned. Yang Ming said such brainless words. Zhao Ying was nervous. She didn't know what Yang Ming's really meant. That's not right. Yang Ming suddenly shouted, but it scared Zhao Ying. How could Zhao Ying bear with such a shock? Her heart almost couldn't bear it and stopped beating. What isn't right? Zhao Ying asked with a trembling voice. You are my classmate now. Yang Ming pretended to finally understand and said, We are in the same school. You are just my senior sister. No matter what, you are not a teacher. Zhao Ying was speechless. You thought for a long time, and you just understood this reason. I thought you were thinking about something. You scared me to death. So, you just said that you are my teacher. What do you mean? Yang Ming asked. Nothing. Zhao Ying's heart was in a mess because of Yang Ming. She didn't have the heart to think about it. She simply shook her head and responded. Yang Ming wanted to say something further, but this beautiful atmosphere was destroyed by someone else. Dee. A car horn sounded, and there was a complaining voice. You too, if you want to date, then date. Don't block the school's entrance. Hurry up and get out of the way. Yang Ming looked up and saw that it was the school cafeteria's food delivery truck that was going to enter the school. He and Zhao Ying were standing at the entrance, blocking the truck. Damn, Yang Ming cursed. You could have transported the food at any time, but you had to transport it at this time. Yang Ming pulled Zhao Ying to the side, and the atmosphere was destroyed. The food delivery truck is badass. Yang Ming cursed. Zhao Ying had returned to normal. She looked at the food delivery truck that had gone far away and smiled. We blocked their road. Of course, they are not willing. Let's go. Let's go to the supermarket to transport the food, said Yang Ming. Zhao Ying smiled and got in the car with Yang Ming. Yang Ming started the car and drove in the direction of the supermarket. The various small grocery stores in the 1990s were now replaced by large supermarkets, but it was indeed more convenient. The goods were more than the small grocery stores. What made Yang Ming uncomfortable was that many supermarkets were foreign brands. Although they sold domestic products, the profit went into the pockets of the foreigners. Therefore, Yang Ming would rather take a detour and choose to shop in the domestic brand supermarkets. Yang Ming parked the car in the parking lot of the supermarket. He and Zhao Ying got out of the car and walked into the supermarket. Do you want to push the cart or take the shopping basket? At the entrance of the supermarket, Zhao Ying hesitated and asked. Take the cart. Buy more. Yang Ming pushed a shopping cart in his hand without any explanation. Why do you want to buy so much? We can't eat it. Zhao Ying was a bit puzzled. If we can't eat it, we can eat it next time. In the future, I will often go to your house to eat. Anyway, Wang Xiaoyan has moved away. You are the only one. It is convenient for us to talk. Yang Ming smiled. The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took it seriously. When Wang Xiaoyan was mentioned, Xiao Ying's heart suddenly felt like a big stone was pressing on it. She was very uncomfortable and a little sad. The words that she wanted to say before couldn't be said. She responded faintly, "Whatever, Sister Ying, what's wrong with you?" Yang Ming was stunned, and then suddenly remembered that he had just mentioned Wang Xiaoyan. He suddenly regretted. Why was my mouth so annoying? Of all the people, why did I have to mention Wang Xiaoyan? Wasn't this looking for trouble? I'm fine. Zhao Ying felt that she had forgotten herself. She quickly turned her head and gave Yang Ming a smile. I was just thinking that if you come to eat every day, wouldn't I be tired to death? Usually, I would just buy something to eat. Hee, I didn't say that I come every day. It's just occasionally. Seeing that Zhao Ying had returned to normal, Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. You can't always deal with it outside. Occasionally, you need to improve your diet. Don't worry. Leave this difficult task to me. I will go to your house often. That way, you can enjoy a big meal yourself. Zhao Ying shook her head helplessly and walked to the fresh food area of the supermarket with Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't care what it was. As long as he felt that it was pleasing to the eye, he would throw it into the cart. Zhao Ying couldn't help it. She stopped Yang Ming a few times, but Yang Ming still did what he wanted. Zhao Ying had to let him do it. In the end, she really couldn't stand it anymore. She said, "Okay, Yang Ming. If you buy more, the refrigerator won't be able to hold it. Do you want my house to become a vegetable market?" Yang Ming smiled and gave up. He calculated that he could eat at least 4 or 5 times. In other words, he could go to Zhao Ying's house 4 or 5 times. Yang Ming, wait for me. I'm going to buy something else. Zhao Ying hesitated for a moment and stopped talking. Buy something. Let's go. Let's go together. It just so happens that I want to buy something else. Yang Ming nodded and said. That's fine. Let's go separately. Said Zhao Ying. Why do we have to go separately? It's better to go together. This supermarket is quite big. What if we get separated again? Yang Ming said with some confusion, besides, we are not in a hurry, but... Zhao Ying hesitated. She didn't say anything for a long time. In the end, she had to give up. She thought, forget it. Anyway, it's not too shameful. The two walked to the daily necessities area. Yang Ming felt that Zhao Ying didn't understand something, so he had been paying attention to Zhao Ying's actions. Seeing that her eyes stayed in the women's products area, he suddenly realized. Is Zhao Ying going to buy something like sanitary pads? No wonder she said that we have to go separately. Sister Ying, do you want to buy sanitary pads? Yang Ming asked indifferently. Anyway, he was thick-skinned and was used to it. Ah. Zhao Ying was shocked, but she quickly denied it subconsciously. No. I just want to buy a shampoo. After Zhao Ying finished speaking, her face turned red. The words just now were just said unconsciously. Zhao Ying bit her lip and glared at Yang Ming. You are bad. How am I bad? Yang Ming said very innocently, I just asked casually. Hey. Sister Ying, isn't this the first time I went to your house and saw the tampons in your house? At that time, I didn't see it clearly, and you threw it away. Yang Ming pointed at the tampons on the shelf and asked in surprise. Zhao Ying was suddenly embarrassed. She remembered the past. She couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. She quickly pulled Yang Ming and whispered, do you really not understand, or are you pretending not to understand? It's understandable that you didn't understand before, but now you. Zhao Ying wanted to say, you have done it with your girlfriend, but you still don't understand the use of these things. Aren't these tampons? Yang Ming was stunned and asked. Forget it. Zhao Ying saw that Yang Ming didn't look like he was acting, so she had to give up. Because tampons weren't as popular as sanitary pads, it wasn't too strange that Yang Ming didn't know. What, forget it? Yang Ming continued to ask, isn't it? You go and ask Chen Mengyan. Don't ask me. Zhao Ying said in a bad mood. However, she thought of Wang Xiaoyan. The tampons last time were given to her by Wang Xiaoyan. Now, I guess Wang Xiaoyan should be able to use them, right? Thinking of this, Zhao Ying sighed. She couldn't figure it out. How did Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan get together? Or did I really misunderstand them? Chapter 1002. Yang Ming, you said that Wang Xiaoyan is your neighbor. She is in the Huashang district, right? Zhao Ying finally couldn't hold it in and asked. Yang Ming was shocked. He secretly thought, what should come finally came. How should I answer? Yang Ming really had a headache. Logically, the relationship between him and Wang Xiaoyan couldn't be exposed because the identities of both of them were very special, and the two of them did have more of a cooperative relationship. And, don't you also live in the Huashang district? Asked Yang Ming. After that, Zhao Ying's mother, Wang Guifin, bought a house for Zhao Ying in the Huashang district, and Yang Ming paid for it, so Yang Ming was naturally very clear. I haven't moved yet. Zhao Ying shook her head. I still live in the original place. Why don't you move over? Yang Ming was stunned. He didn't expect Zhao Ying to still live in the original place. She didn't live in a new house, but she lived in a rented house. What is this? I always feel that there is an unreal feeling. I feel that the house is not mine. Zhao Ying sighed and shook her head. You bought the house to hide from my mother's eyes and ears. Now, you can take it back. I can't take your house for no reason. How is it for no reason? You are my sister, right? Yang Ming smiled and said, you can't deny this. There is nothing wrong with a brother buying a house for his sister. Yang Ming was very puzzled about what Zhao Ying was still struggling and hesitating in her heart. There was only a thin layer of paper between the two of them, but Zhao Ying still couldn't make up her mind. She always retreated at the critical moment. Just like just now, he had used words to hint several times, but Zhao Ying avoided it. This made Yang Ming very helpless. It was also the reason why Yang Ming didn't dare to confess casually. Don't talk about this. Zhao Ying felt that her heart was beating so fast that she couldn't bear it. She took a deep breath and said, I am going to buy something. After that, she ran away quickly. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying's back as she ran away, and he could only smile bitterly. What is Zhao Ying's resistance? Is it because of her shyness? Or is it Wang Xiaoyan? Or is it Chen Mengyan? Thinking of Chen Mengyan, Yang Ming suddenly remembered that during the temple fair, Chen Mengyan was furious at Zhao Ying and scolded Zhao Ying as a vixen. Yang Ming had a bit of a headache. This is not easy to handle. Chen Mengyan was a traditional girl. Although she could tolerate Lin Jiyun and Zhou Jiejia now, she might not tolerate Zhao Ying. Because Zhao Ying was their teacher in high school, Chen Mengyan couldn't accept the fact that her teacher became a sister. Perhaps the first one to jump out and make things difficult would be her. Thinking of this, Yang Ming suddenly had a headache. Perhaps, Zhao Ying also had a headache, right? In the blink of an eye, Xiaoying had already bought the shampoo she needed, but she had already paid the bill at the checkout counter in the supermarket and put it into a small bag. Yang Ming couldn't help but smile. This isn't a shameful thing. Why do you have to do this? Let's go. I'm done buying. Xiaoying looked at Yang Ming, who was in a daze, and said with a smile. Oh, okay. Seeing that Xiaoying didn't want to talk about the previous topic, Yang Ming no longer said it. Anyway, he had prepared the memory tree. Xiaoying would understand his thoughts sooner or later. Yang Ming and Xiaoying pushed a cart of ingredients like a young couple who came to the supermarket to shop. Yang Ming enjoyed this feeling, and Xiaoying seemed to be enjoying it too, but neither of them said it out loud. After paying the bill, the two of them worked together to move these ingredients into the car. Although Yang Ming could carry these alone, the feeling of the two of them working together was different. Each of them carried one bag of things, and there was a faint tacit understanding between them. After getting in the car, Yang Ming started the car and silently drove to Zhao Ying's original residence. The familiar streets, the familiar community. It was almost a year later when they came here again. Yang Ming remembered the scene when he first sent Xiaoying home. It was still vivid in his mind as if it was yesterday. Why? Don't you recognize this place? Seeing Yang Ming in a daze, Xiaoying patted Yang Ming's shoulder and smiled. Get out of the car. The car in front can't go in. We can only walk in. Did you forget? Oh. Yang Ming got out of the car and carried the big bag of ingredients with Xiaoying and walked in the direction of the community. Why isn't there a voice-controlled light installed here? Yang Ming looked at the dark corridor and couldn't help but frown. How dangerous is it for you to come back every day? You can move to the new house tomorrow. It's okay. I'm used to it. Xiaoying smiled and said, I have lived here for more than 2 years. It's not like you haven't been here before. At that time, I got off work later than now. Besides, when school starts in a few days, I will live on campus. Then you should move there. The house there is empty. You still rent a house. Aren't you rich and have nowhere to spend it? Yang Ming said in a good mood, or you can take it that I rented the house to you, and you pay me the rent. Xiaoying listened to Yang Ming and was very helpless. She couldn't really pay the rent to Yang Ming. She had no choice but to say, well, I will move there when school starts in a few days. Tomorrow, I will come over to help you move tomorrow morning. Or, I will sleep here tonight. Yang Ming said with a big face. Xiaoying was speechless. She knew that Yang Ming's face was big, but she didn't expect it to be so big. Oh, then it's settled. In fact, I'm also very tired. Yang Ming had nothing to do, so he began to wander around the house. When he saw Xiaoying busy in the kitchen, Yang Ming tiptoed into Zhao Ying's room. It wasn't the first time that Yang Ming came to Zhao Ying's room. However, when he came the first time, he didn't dare to be too presumptuous. When he came the second time, he was caught by Wang Xiaoyan. This time, it was the most relaxed. Yang Ming took off his coat and threw it aside. Then, he lay lazily on Zhao Ying's bed. He smelled the fragrance, which made Yang Ming feel relaxed and happy. Last night, he and Wang Xiaoyan tossed and turned all night. He also spent a long time on the internet. Yang Ming hardly rested. At this moment, lying on the soft bed, Yang Ming felt sleepy. He fell asleep in a daze. Xiaoying prepared the meal and called Yang Ming's name to come and eat. She called for a long time, but there was no movement. She had no choice but to go out of the kitchen and find Yang Ming personally. She pushed open the door of her room, but she saw Yang Ming lying on her bed sleeping soundly. Xiaoying was suddenly angry and amused. This Yang Ming, how can he be so careless? Isn't it like he is at home? She gently called Yang Ming a few times, but she didn't see him wake up. Zhao Ying had no choice but to sit in front of the desk, turn on the computer, and do other things while waiting for Yang Ming to wake up. In fact, when Zhao Ying opened the door and came in, Yang Ming had already woken up. As an assassin, Yang Ming's reaction ability was very fast. He was just pretending to be asleep. However, Yang Ming was indeed a little sleepy. He knew that Zhao Ying wouldn't harm him, so he closed his eyes peacefully. Chapter 1003. After an unknown amount of time, Yang Ming woke up again after sleeping in a daze. He looked up and saw that Zhao Ying was still sitting in front of the computer in front of the desk, dealing with some documents. Yang Ming stretched and sat up from the bed. He looked at Zhao Ying, who was engrossed. He suddenly had a bad idea. He tiptoed out of the bed and carefully came behind Zhao Ying. It turned out that Zhao Ying was analyzing a classic business case. Yang Ming suddenly reached out and covered Zhao Ying's eyes. Of course, what Yang Ming wanted to cover the most was Zhao Ying's chest, but he didn't dare to do so. Now, the relationship with Zhao Ying hadn't reached that point. It was okay to touch inadvertently, but it was a bit fucked up intentionally. Zhao Ying definitely wouldn't let him go easily. It was possible that she would directly drive him out. Yeah. Zhao Ying was shocked. She was shocked and cried out involuntarily. She had been studying alone in front of the computer every night for a while. She was used to it, so for a moment, she didn't think that Yang Ming was still in her house. When she remembered that Yang Ming was here, she suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and said angrily, "Yang Ming, what are you doing? Are you trying to scare me to death?" "No, I just want to see if you can still see after covering your eyes," Yang Ming said with a smile. "You?" Zhao Ying said angrily, "If I cover your eyes, can you still see?" "Yes." Yang Ming said with a smile. "Yes." "Really?" Zhao Ying was very angry. "That's fine. I will cover your eyes now. I want to see if you can see." As Zhao Ying said, she stood up and covered Yang Ming's eyes tightly with both hands. Then she said, "If you can't see, hee. I won't move tomorrow." "Okay, then you ask me. What do you want me to see?" Yang Ming asked indifferently. "And just look at what is written on my computer screen," asked Zhao Ying. "Oh, your computer screen says Qin Chi Wine, the rise and fall of the Central TV Liquor King," Yang Ming said word by word. "It doesn't count." Zhao Ying let go of her hand and said resentfully, "I knew you had a good memory. You performed it once in school." Yang Ming smiled and remembered when he was in high school. Many teachers suspected that he had cheated. At that time, only Zhao Ying believed that his results were real. Although he had proven that it was because of his superior memory, Zhao Ying was able to trust him so much before, which made Yang Ming's heart feel warm. "Sister Ying, thank you." Yang Ming was very daring and couldn't help but say, "Thank me." Zhao Ying was stunned and said strangely, "Yang Ming, why did you suddenly say this? Why are you thanking me?" "When you said memory, I remembered the general exam in high school. Other teachers said that I cheated. Only you believed me." Yang Ming recalled the past and was very emotional. "Hee, you are talking about that time. If it was before, I would definitely think that you cheated. However, during that period of time, I personally tutored you. With the help of Chen Mengyan, your results naturally improved by leaps and bounds. It was not strange, so I felt that it was your real results." Zhao Ying said, "What's more, your results were not very good. Who did you copy?" However, no matter what, I was still very moved at that time. Yang Ming nodded and said, You are moved and you are still angry with me. I am going to be angered to death by you. Zhao Ying saved the case in the computer and said, I have already prepared the meal in the kitchen. As a result, you slept for more than 2 hours. Now that it is so cold, the food is already cold. Are you hungry? I am going to heat it up now. And, when you said that, I am really hungry. Yang Ming nodded and said, let's go. I will help you. Forget it. The kitchen here is very small. If you go, you will be in the way. Zhao Ying waved her hand, picked up the apron on the hanger, and put it on. Yang Ming just took a look at the kitchen. It was indeed very small, so since Zhao Ying didn't want his help, he had to give up. Even if Yang Ming went, he probably wouldn't be able to help much. Instead, he would cause trouble. Yang Ming and Zhao Ying went out of the room together. Zhao Ying went into the kitchen, and Yang Ming sat at the dining table in the square hall and waited. After the rice was done, it had been placed in the rice cooker, so it could be eaten after a little heating. However, the 2 dishes and the soup made by Zhao Ying were already cold. Zhao Ying brought the dishes and soup into the kitchen, turned on the fire, and began to work again. After a while, there was a burst of aroma in the kitchen. Yang Ming suddenly had a big appetite and saliva. I really didn't expect that Zhao Ying was also a master of home cooking. Being able to sleep in the bed and cook in the kitchen is the best among women. Zhao Ying has one of them. I don't know if she can sleep in the bed. And this needs to be tested. It is a difficult task. I have to persevere to achieve this great dream, Yang Ming thought. Yeah. Suddenly, Zhao Ying's scream came from the kitchen, pulling Yang Ming back to reality from his lascivious thoughts. Yang Ming was shocked and quickly ran to the kitchen. Sister Ying, what's wrong with you? Yang Ming rushed into the kitchen and came to Zhao Ying's side. No, nothing. Zhao Ying blushed and whispered, there was a cockroach. I was shocked, cockroach. Where is it? I'll help you kill it. Did it hurt you? Let me check. Although Yang Ming was nominally looking for the cockroach, his eyes were glancing at Zhao Ying. Just now, he was still thinking about sleeping in the bed. Yang Ming was now thinking about sleeping in the bed. He couldn't calm down for a while. It's okay. Zhao Ying didn't know about Yang Ming's dirty thoughts. She thought that he was really looking for the cockroach, so she said, it has already disappeared. It's useless to look for it. Then I won't look for it. Yang Ming smiled and said, anyway, I will move tomorrow. I will say goodbye to these cockroaches. Go and bring the dishes I made into the house first, but the last small pork ribs with cabbage needs to be stewed with some water for a while. Zhao Ying said. Yang Ming looked at the fragrant fresh mushroom slices and the steaming borscht. He suddenly drooled. He squeezed in and wanted to bring the dishes out. Zhao Ying said, why are you squeezing me? I almost fell into the pot. The space in the kitchen was very small. Zhao Ying put the hot dishes and soup on the chopping board inside. Yang Ming wasn't a gibbon. He naturally had to squeeze in to get it. Yang Ming said with grievance, I'm serving the dishes, then you can't turn sideways. Zhao Ying glared at Yang Ming and said angrily, why are you so stupid? How could Yang Ming be stupid? He didn't turn sideways just now because his previous thoughts were too lascivious, causing his body to have a reaction. Now, he hadn't recovered yet. If he turned sideways, wouldn't he be leaning on Zhao Ying? However, since Zhao Ying asked him to turn sideways, then he couldn't blame himself. In fact, Yang Ming could turn his back and lean back to back with Zhao Ying, but Yang Ming deliberately didn't think in this direction. Yang Ming turned his body and squeezed in sideways. The erection of his body just brushed past Zhao Ying's buttocks. Zhao Ying naturally felt it, but because she turned her back, she didn't think much about it. She thought that Yang Ming was pranking her, so she said casually, "Yang Ming, what did you use to push against me?" "Ugh, nothing." Yang Ming thought that Zhao Ying would suffer a hidden loss. He didn't expect that she could still ask. Looking at her, it seemed that she really didn't know what pushed against her. Zhao Ying saw that Yang Ming didn't admit it, so she turned her head and glanced down. She didn't see anything special, but her eyes stopped on Yang Ming's pants, and her face suddenly turned red. This Yang Ming actually didn't forget to be mischievous for a while. She glared at him and said, "What are you thinking in your head? Why are you thinking of such a messy thing?" Sorry. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Ying innocently and said, "You want me to turn sideways? How can you blame me? Indeed, I want you to turn sideways, but don't think of such a messy thing in your head." How can it be like that?" Zhao Ying's face turned red as she scolded him. "Sister Ying, I really didn't mean it. This is a normal physiological phenomenon," Yang Ming said with a sad face. "Haven't you heard of morning erection? After waking up, there will be this natural physiological reaction. I just woke up, so naturally, there will be a reaction. Can you blame me for this?" Zhao Ying was stunned. She felt that what Yang Ming said seemed to be reasonable. It seemed that this was really the case. Did I blame him wrongly? Her eyes glanced at Yang Ming's lower body again. She said, "Then why don't you hurry up and serve the dishes? What are you waiting for?" "I. Sister Ying, in fact, you don't have to be so angry." Yang Ming sighed and said, "The effect of force is mutual. You think that I took advantage of you. In fact, aren't you the one who took advantage of me? Moreover, when I first came to your house, you saw it. This time, it shouldn't be a problem, right?" "Ah." After Zhao Ying heard Yang Ming's words, she suddenly blushed. She couldn't help but remember the first time Yang Ming came and the situation in the bathroom. Her face was burning. Yang Ming took the dishes and soup and still smiled as he rubbed past Zhao Ying's body. Zhao Ying couldn't say anything, but there was a strange feeling that made Zhao Ying's heart beat faster. When Yang Ming passed by, Zhao Ying trembled.